What's up, guys? It's Cooper Webb, and you're listening to the MotoXpod.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Aaron Plessinger, and you guys are listening to the MotoXpod.
Save me from myself. My arms and legs are bound. Like an agent called from another world. I'll scream the truth 6 feet underground. Feel alive inside yourself. Watch your enemies dispel. If I can find a way to avoid this fate, there'll be a story to
Welcome back to the Vital MX MotoXpod show, presented by Racetech and Yamaha Motor USA. Glad to be back. We'll talk about round 4 at High Point with surprise winners in both classes. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah? No.
Yeah, it was a big surprise.
Big surprise. No, Joe, it's continued success from Hayden Deegan and Jet Lawrence, but still plenty to talk about. We had a red flag calling a race or a moto early due to weather. So plenty of other stuff to talk about, though. Great guest lineup tonight. Hunter Lawrence and GNCC rider Phoenix Honda's Cody Barnes will be on the line. Plenty of stuff to talk about. We'll jump into the Yamaha opening chat in just a few minutes. But first up, in studio, the only one that's ever reliable, Scotty Thompson.
Yeah, all by my lonesome over here. The camera's zoomed in, and it's just me. And yeah, like I said, always here.
Do we need to spin that chair around just
Yeah,
for the
it's
wide
fine.
shot? Doesn't that with the empty seat for the dead co-hosts?
Yeah.
Dead. TJ and Chase, dead. No, joke. Not dead, but dead to us tonight.
Yeah, dead to us.
Well, yeah, I'm excited to do the show. You excited?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have to work today?
Yeah, I did.
I got a job.
Yeah, you did, man. Good job.
I don't feel like a loser anymore.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that actually when we get into the South Central Regional discussion. Try to remind me about the job situation because I got to tie that in a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
We're going to actually have Turd jump on for a little bit. He was there. Andrew Short, his dad, obviously was there. Andrew packed my gate. I want to talk about all that stuff in a little bit. But first up, the Yamaha opening chat, obviously presented by Yamaha Motor USA, which has a reputation for dominance. It doesn't happen overnight. It's built over decades, Scotty. The YZ story is over 50 years of iconic machines and groundbreaking innovations. And Yamaha took those championship-winning bikes and made them even better because the best doesn't rest. Check them out at YamahaMotorsports.com. Go to your local dealership. Check out everything Yamaha has to offer. Yamaha, once again, the big 42 points lead in 250 Pro Motocross with Hayden Deegan. Eli Tomac gets a moto win. And our buddy from Ampro Yamaha, Liam Draper, wins the U.S. Sprint Enduro Championship. So congratulations to Liam Draper. I actually hit him up today. We're going to get him on in a couple weeks. I think we'll probably take next Tuesday off with the off weekend. And then the following week.
It's been a while since we haven't done one. So
yeah, we'll probably take that weekend off and come back with Liam Draper and someone else for that show. But anyway, let's start with the red flag. I don't know how much you've been on social media and seen the conspiracy theories, silliness. What is wrong with our industry, man? What's wrong with our fans?
dude, there was lightning.
But they waited. They waited until Jet got into third so he can get the overall. They waited. They want Jet to dominate and run away with this. They want that.
They don't want any kind of tight racing or a good championship battle and something they can promote and no.
So silly.
Yeah.
Silly,
is that really
man.
are people just being joking or is
no? Come on, man. No, people are nuts. People are nuts. If you're a fan of our show and you believe they literally waited till Jet got into third so they could call the race, come on.
Yeah, and then
hit us up at motoxpodshow@gmail.com and tell us legitimately why you would possibly believe that.
And then to top it off, it's we can get two birds at the same time. We can let Jet get the overall, and we can screw the fan favorite in AP right after he gets goggles.
Yeah, right. Dude, that was, first of all, the coolest, best goggle swap I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a good one.
They
wiped his face and everything.
Just for him to jump out there and get completely soaked by some lapper.
And J. Coop. Yeah,
but the splash really came from that lapper.
If you can see it from a camera 100 yards away, you know it was bad.
It was so bad. Poor AP.
Yeah. He was the only one that did it, and he just got screwed.
Yeah. Like he was in front of Justin Cooper, then got the goggles so that he could get back in front, hopefully, and run off. And none of it worked out.
That happened to me once on a practice day. It was practice day, so I didn't have tear-offs on. And I was riding behind my buddy, and that they had just watered the track, so there was this puddle, and like I was my front tire to his rear tire right here, and we hit a puddle, and the water just splashed up on my goggles, and like I was just completely blind.
Yeah.
And it was we were like fourth gear, wide open too. It was terrifying.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, we were
fourth gear, half throttle.
Yeah, probably.
I'll believe that.
Half throttle.
Okay.
It felt wide
which
open.
feels like wide open for us.
I was wide open at one point of it, and then I was back off.
Yeah, for like a half a second. Ooh, that's too fast.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about a couple riders quickly, and then some other topics I want to get into. Jet, right? All the post-race show, we talked about Jet. I'm sure Steve on the review show talked about Jet. You probably all Jet Lawrenced out, but look, we're going to repeat ourselves. He is incredible. Watching him stall, be very patient, get back up and just take the lead, how methodical he was, manualing over some of those little humps, jumping the triple and the quad in the rain. I don't understand this guy. Like, yes, I think I'm starting to believe or starting to succumb to the possibility that he may be the greatest of all time at some point. Like, what he does blows my mind. Like, there was one point where they were coming down the hill. He was behind when he was chasing J. Coop. I think it was when he made the pass. And J. Coop, it's raining. He goes down and hits the rut. Justin Cooper does, which was what most of us would do on an off-camber turn in the rain. And we need that rut to push off. Jet just flat tracks around the bottom, takes the pass. How are you getting traction? It's literally impossible to get traction with a scoop in those conditions. But he can do it. Like, how it doesn't make sense. Yeah. He might literally be an alien.
Well, I mean, do you get the same feeling watching him as we like did on Stu in a 125? Like, we were like, how
in a different manner? Yeah, like
how is he doing that?
Yeah, like with James, he was just so freaking fast and scrubbing, and it was more of an aggressive riding style. Jet makes it look so effortless.
Yeah.
It's like, we already know, I keep saying we talked about this last week, and I'm hearing it, but I can't stop it. So I'm sorry.
I don't know, man. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. He, with that low RPM and just smooth, controlled riding style, it's not necessarily cooler, but it messes with my head more. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like, I understand what James was doing. I don't know how he did it, but I can understand. Well, he's just wide freaking open and controls it. Jet just is like perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's scary.
It is scary. Like, there it is. I did it too. I just
we just got to ignore it. I'm just apologizing for it. Oh, by the way, get well, Lewis. I talked to Lewis today and yesterday. Just real quick, he's working on getting better, but send your thoughts and prayers or whatever you got to Lewis. We want him to get better. He's struggling.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt your flow there, but
no, it's all good. I mean, shout out to Big Lou. Yep. He needs
to get back walking around.
We need Chase needs to come back, and then that'll spur Lewis to do what he needs to do. Yes. But with Jet, it's just what your point is that he's just so fluid on the bike, and yes, that is the thing. What's been getting me that's just so crazy is, I guess you would call it racecraft. Like, I've always deemed Cooper Webb like the most racecraft guy that we have, especially in Supercross. Obviously, outdoors isn't really his bag, but it's the how he knows what's happening around him and his ability to fluctuate his pace and just do not necessarily the bare minimum, but do what he needs to do to win the race and maintain a race. Like, there's been so many times where I keep catching myself, and I've stopped myself from thinking this, because I'd be like, oh man, so-and-so's only a second and a half off of him. He's right there. You can see him on the screen. He's right there. And then he'll catch up to him, and then the next lap, he pulls it back out.
That's the effortless thing that I was like, it's just like, oh, whatever. Whatever he needs to do, he can do.
Or AP gets 3.5 seconds on. I'm like, man, I know there's a long time left, but like, maybe AP can do it. And then like, I was like, if anything, maybe he can hold it to like the last lap, and I don't know, but then like, it's over in like 3 laps again. It's just,
and he does it with
I just don't get it.
with such a calmness. It appears like it doesn't appear that he ever stresses
when Eli
out.
does it. When Eli does it, you know.
Well, that's where the beast mode thing comes, right? Yeah, that's really where you see. Oh my god!
Yeah, and you can hear him. You can hear him over them talking.
It's effortless with Jet. It appears to be effortless, and it always appears he has more in the tank if he needs it. So it's unreal.
Would you agree that at any given point Eli is the fastest guy?
Well, there definitely have been moments when he's been. Is that? But
like overall, has he been the fastest guy? And just the starts and everything?
I'm gonna say no, not overall.
Okay.
Now, sometimes yes. I mean, obviously he put some of the fastest.
I mean,
that's kind of the next topic. Do you want to move on to Eli?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So that is kind of my next topic of when it comes to just a couple riders I want to talk about is he goes in Moto 1. He goes from 10th at the end of lap 1. Puts in some of the fastest laps or the fastest laps of the moto mid-race, catches Justin Cooper, and then just stalls out. Can't get around Justin Cooper.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't get that.
With that.
I didn't get it. I didn't understand.
That's also very strange because you would think, I feel like in years past, he would just blow by and go after Jet, and then Jet would probably be like, oh, yeah, I'll just...
Justin Cooper has been really good at that, though.
Yes.
He's been really good at holding
Eli
people
stalled
up.
out, if you look at lap times. He stalled out.
And
Why?
if he had just gotten those two, he would have gotten the overall, and this would be a completely different conversation. Like, it's so...
It still wouldn't be that much different.
He would have won the overall.
I know, but I think I would still be on the Jet wagon, man. It's unreal.
It's like, it's weird, though, because in the second moto with Eli, it's like, yeah, that's Eli.
Well, because he got the start.
He got the start.
He sprinted.
It's like, okay, that's Eli.
Yeah.
And then and then the first moto, it's like, well, okay, I can kind of see that too. Like, I just don't know which one is he. You know,
right.
I mean, he had the fastest lap in both motos. It's you can't go 5-1 and beat Jet Lawrence.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
We have to call Hudson Turd in just a minute. And I still have a lot of topics I want to get to. So we may rearrange some of the show stuff here. I'm going to tell you on the fly, let people listen. MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. Hit us up with any of your comments, thoughts, questions, etc. What we may do instead of doing emails is maybe just continue with the topics, but I'll let you know as we go. Let's see, real quick, before we call Turd, the 6 to 9 group in both classes. Okay. So I'm going to RJ Hampshire 6th in the points. We're talking 450s first, right? Oh, we got some sound. RJ Hampshire 6th in the points. Jason Anderson, I think, is 8th. Prado's 10th. Like Savacci's 9th. Cooper Webb 7th. So that group, you got it, right? Which one of those guys?
Wait, I'm sorry. Say him again.
Okay, RJ, Jason Anderson, Prado, Savacci, Cooper Webb. Okay. Which one of those guys steps away towards in the coming weeks? We got a week off, and becomes a 1 to 5 guy, or at least pressures to be more of a 1 to 5 guy.
I want to say RJ.
I think you're right.
But also though, I will say that I do see Coop improving too. Coop's getting better. Like I don't know if
results wise or
it just seems like his pace is getting
okay.
Like
he's gone 13, 6, 6, 10.
But didn't he like start like in 30th in that second moto?
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me, so I'm not. He did. Yeah, I think he went down.
Yeah.
I think he did go down.
It's like where's that?
He did go down. You're
where's
right.
that been?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go RJ in that group, 250s, and let me get Hudson on the phone. 250. I'm gonna give you the list, and I'll let you talk, and I'll get Hudson on the phone. The group I'm thinking is Levi Kitchen, who's in 6th, Cochran's in 7th, Masterpool 8th, Beaumare 9th, Volan 10th.
Well, I don't think Levi belongs in that group.
He's moving up. So, all right, yeah, actually, I have a cross through his name because I was like, I'm going to take him out. So, Cochran, Masterpool, Beaumare, Volan, Mikhail Harup. Which one of those guys steps up? Because there's been a lot of inconsistency in that group.
I'm going to say either Beaumare or Cochran. Probably Beaumare, but Cochran's actually, I mean... you could even argue that he shouldn't even have been in this group that you're putting him in at the beginning of the season. So
I agree.
I think
He's had some bad motos.
I think that he's been better. Like I think at the beginning of the season he wasn't even in this group yet.
Right.
And he's to be in this considered with those guys, I think is already saying something, even with maybe some bad motos. So I think that
because he's gone 5-4, 17, 20, but he had the bad crash this weekend. Let's come back to this. We have our guy on the phone. ETS Racing Fuels was forged from the heat of competition nearly 30 years ago, developing purpose-engineered fuel for high-profile teams in highly competitive series. We have been the power behind many podium wins ever since. Teams using ETS Racing Fuels have won more than 50 national world champion titles. ETS Racing Fuels will find your local distributor, supporting teams like Factory KTM, Factory HRC Honda, Rockstar Husqvarna, and myself this weekend at Loretta Lynn Qualifiers, the regionals, South Central regionals at Underground. But besides myself, our buddy Turd, Hudson Short, was there. Hudson, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you?
I'm better, man. It took me a couple days to recover, but how are you doing?
I'm doing completely fine. I'm proud of Dark Side.
Why? Why are you proud of me?
He wants to hear it. Stroke
You
ego.
he had a little bit of dog in him in the last moto. I liked it.
Well, let's talk about you first. I can tell my story in a little bit later, whatever. But you've made it. You've gone. Boy, I'm struggling. You've been to 3 regionals so far. Is that right?
No,
2.
So we did 2 regionals,
Okay.
or we did 2 regions. So we did South Central and North Central.
Okay, so
But with the
Millville and
120,
then
with the 125 classes, you have one class at amateur, the amateur regional, which is like vets and all big bikes, and then the other 2 classes are at the youth regional with all the little bikes.
That's
so
why you've been.
kinda,
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, that's why we've been going to so many.
Wow, that sucks, man. That sucks for your dad.
Yeah, Hudson's having a great time.
Yeah, I'm having a great time, bro. I got to ride Millville. I got to ride tons of tracks.
Okay. Well, tell us how your weekend went. You made it in 250C, I believe, right?
Yeah, I made it in 125C and 250C. But so yeah, my bike at Millville. So we went to Millville and my dad qualified there in Open Pro and plus 40. But at Millville, I got first in the first moto, and then my bike broke in the second moto. But we didn't know what it was. And we thought it was something in the carb or something happened. But we ended up draining the foot bowl, and we went a little leaner on the air screw, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I rode 3 more motos on it at Millville, which is gnarly. We didn't even know what was wrong. I just lined back up. So I went 1 DNF1 and 125C at Millville. So that doesn't make you into Loretta's.
No, it does not.
So that's why we had to go to Underground to begin with. So my dad made it, so he didn't have to ride it Underground, which was nice. It was more focused on me. I guess that's selfish to say, but it was nice. And it was pretty smooth. First practice at Underground, my bike did the exact same thing, which is basically running out of fuel on the track. It's super scary. But Big Dan from Munn, he and Derek Harris from HP, they figured out it was the stator. So they changed the stator, and it worked the rest of the weekend completely fine. The weekend went pretty smooth. I think I went 2-1-2 and 125C. It was nice. I got hole shots, so I could just ride my own race and be smart, let some people buy if I needed to. Didn't have to battle or anything. So 250C was a little gnarlier. Can't really get a start on I mean, you could, but it's really hard to get a start on those 250Fs. I mean, if you get the jump on them, you still can't beat them to the first turn. So I ate a chunk of a hay bale in the first moto so bad. My bike was stuck in the tree. So I came back to it was my fault, but I came back to 9th in that moto, and that really saved me. That's the only reason I made it, because I came back to 9th. So I think I went 9-3-1 in 250C. So pretty smooth weekend, honestly. I'm really happy and grateful my bike stayed together and I stayed up.
Yeah, I was able to watch some of your motos and just see how fast you were going. It was really impressive, Hudson, and I'm happy for you. I one of the reasons I want to get you on here is to let you know I appreciate all your support, because you've been very positive and you're always kind of giving me words of encouragement. And your dad was out there packing my gate, which was a little bit mind-blowing for me. I've become friends with your dad, but he's still freaking Andrew Short, man. That's still pretty damn cool.
He's just some random washed-up pro, bro.
To you, sure. To me, he was one of my favorite riders, and to have him come up and give, so Scotty, my last moto in the 50 class, I'm smoked, and I'm lining up. I was 6th the moto before, so I was 6th gate pick. And I kind of had my spot next to Michael Keating, who I know was safe. And Andrew comes over, like, why are you going there? I was like, I don't know. It's just next to Keating. And he's like, so? He's like, why don't you come over here? And he has me go all the way to the inside. It's not even a completely straight line to the first turn. Mm-hmm. He's like, I think this is a good spot for this reason. And I'm like, I trust you, buddy.
Yeah.
So,
It was so dry.
Yeah.
You were trying to start in the middle of all the slop. It was so dry on the inside.
He wasn't looking at that, Hudson. He was just saw that was his buddy who's next to it.
yeah, I just knew I don't know.
Position over position, dark side.
It really came down to comfort. Like that was the straightest shot to the first turn. But yeah,
My dad videoed it. It was sick. You got a good jump off the gate. You just need to hold it on more into the first turn. You actually had a good start off the gate.
And Kiefer was like, what were you waiting for? What took you? Like, why'd you wait so long to go? And I kept watching. It was like, how much quicker could I go?
I've noticed that too with his starts though, Hudson. He gets a good jump, and then he just like doesn't want to.
No, I don't want to get pinballed around in the first turn.
Yeah, you gotta risk it to get the biscuit, dude. They're all the same age as you.
I didn't want the biscuit as bad as some of those guys did. Well, but it was sick, dude. It was a good weekend in the end. Yes, I missed it by we haven't talked about it on the show yet, so I missed it by probably 10 feet, honestly. But what'd you think of the track? Like, to me, that was one of the roughest, gnarliest tracks I've been on.
I wanted to talk about that. Yeah, it was fun for me because that's the kind of tracks I like and I do best on, I feel like. But I've had a lot more experience than you on those kind of tracks. Like, we train or we go ride at TTMX during the week, so that's super rough. And then I've also gone. I go to so many amateur nationals every year that track is where I feel almost at home now. Like, I feel excited to just ride a track that rough. Yeah. Because it separates everyone so much. And it's not like it's easy for me by any means. It's so challenging, but that's why I like it. It's because it's challenging, you know. But even the heat was almost the worst part. It was so hot and humid that I ride a lot. So, and it was still really bad for me. Like, I was, after those pushing in the 250C Moto 1, I felt like I was about to pass out. And there's only 13 to 14 minute motos for me, and they're 18-minute motos for Dark Side. So Dark Side has to suffer even more.
More than that, because my lap time, we did 6 laps, and my lap times were about 3:13. So that's
how long was that track?
Not in your last moto. I looked at your lap time in the last moto. You did 2:45 in your last.
Oh wow,
moto.
I got down that. Okay, I never.
It was on your last lap too.
Maybe. Wow. Huh. That was the lap I thought it tipped over. That's how heat exhausted I was. It must have been the lap before then. Either way, it was 20 minutes plus. And on Saturday, I did 3. I was supposed to do 4, and I bailed on the 45 class. I had nothing left. And so, yeah, it was tough, Hudson. It kicked my butt.
The lap that Tommy Jenks passed you, you did a 3:02. That was your second to last lap.
Okay, so that's where I tipped over. Yep.
You had Loretta Lynn's in your hands until the second to last lap.
Yeah, because I was telling Scotty before the show started, and I'll talk for the listeners. I'll talk more about my weekend after we get done with our guests in a little bit. But I had Tommy Jenkins. I had a gap on him. I made a mistake in the rollers because I was tired, and it kind of threw me to the right in some soft stuff, and I ended up having to roll through the rollers, and he caught me and passed me in the turn, and then I caught back up, tipped over, took me probably 10 seconds to get going again, and that 10 seconds definitely cost me because by the end I was on his rear tire.
Yeah, you were close. You almost passed him in the rollers on the last lap.
Yeah, it really was.
How many people were in the class?
How many were in there, Hudson? I think that one was like 12.
Well, it depends because the last moto, no one ever starts. So there was 11 people in Moto 3 and Masters 50 Plus.
Yeah.
But in Moto 1, there was 15.
Okay.
So Hudson's got it, man. He's your fan club.
So, yeah, I went 9, 6, 7 for 7th overall. Literally feet from having it.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel bad, Dark Side.
It's fine. And
the road to Loretta's is full of tears.
Like I said, we'll get into more details on the weekend in a little bit. We've got Hunter Lawrence coming up here in just a couple minutes, but I want to get you on and say thank you for your support and your dad's support, and congratulations in making it in the 125 or the 250C class. And I know you'll get in there in the 125.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be fun. We're going to 21 hours, leaving tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
Sounds fun.
I'm just gonna recover this weekend. I'm still trying to get my hydration back. Like I thought I was in shape, Scotty, and I go out and I do 20-minute motos, 3 or 4 of them. I've talked about it on here. I sort of brag, messing with you guys about it, but that was nothing like racing 20 minutes.
No, it's not. It's different.
Yeah.
And the underground is bad, or not bad, but difficult because the jumps are big there, not very vet friendly. If you don't jump the jumps there, you don't really have much flow.
Yeah.
Once I started doing that big triple, and after I started doing that, like every lap, it was so much more fun. Like the track flowed a lot better.
Yeah, you had to hit that thing wide open, especially on a 125. I can't even imagine.
I was having to go outside and crossing all the ruts.
Yeah.
And then wide open.
Like Gage was like, dude, I don't think you should do it because I'm pinned almost. Like I'm having to hit it almost wide open.
What was he riding?
His 450-09. He got it back together. Yeah, but regardless, I didn't jump that. No,
Okay.
I wasn't about that life. So, but Hudson, we got to let you go so we can get Hunter on here in just a minute. But yeah, I just want to check in with you. I want to congratulate you, and I want to thank you and your dad for everything.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, Darkside. You did a good job this weekend.
Well, thank you. I came away safe, and I'm okay with my results. I'm happy with it. So, but thank you very much.
Yeah, y'all have a good night. Thanks
You too,
for having me
Hudson.
on.
Good luck this weekend.
I want to tell everyone, I did not mean to hang up the last time I was on the show when they asked to come to the farm. I did not mean to do that. That was on an accident.
You're a turd.
Uh-huh.
It's all good, buddy. We love you. Have a good night and a good weekend. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me on.
All right, see you, bud. That's Hudson Short. Yeah, I'm going to work on getting so we got a couple minutes before we got to get Hunter on. Let's go back then real quick to the discussion we were having about the 250s. I honestly don't remember what you were saying, but we were talking about Cochran. Who will make the step coming up in the next few weeks?
I think Beaumare.
You think Beaumare? Okay. I don't know. Like I guess he's probably fine. We haven't heard anything. But
at the same time, though, like, does it really matter?
No, I'm just curious.
Like,
it's just a discussion. That's like the second or third even tier of guys. I guess third tier, because Hayden's his own tier. Then you have the Hymas, Joe, and Levi, and then these guys.
I know I'm kind of changing the subject, but I almost want to say that this has been more dominant than the last like year or two of Jet in the 250 class, and it's like a lot of the same guys too that should be more experienced and faster.
Yeah,
and like, I mean, yeah, when I watch the 250 classes, I just don't expect anything but Deegan just to walk away.
Well,
with
and
it.
I think that's the case in both classes to a degree.
I think the 450 class has more parity in it.
Okay.
Even though the results don't
show
show
like
that,
it's almost the same to a degree. Maybe a little more in the 250 class, but that's kind of one of. So I think Cochran's going to step up. I think he's been building. He's in 7th right now. I think his results really will start improving with a weekend off. But then you take that. Okay, so I just said that's the third tier of riders is what I'm saying. 6 to 9, 6 to 10. Second tier is your Joe Shimoda, Levi Kitchen, Chance Hymas, who Hymas. Probably, yeah. I texted him today. He doesn't have his results of his MRI, so he doesn't know. He's just going to try to do some rehab and wait and see. So let's say more than likely, I feel like Chance might miss some races. So then that leaves Joe, Marchbanks, and Levi that are in that second group. And none of those guys can consistently get a start to even have a chance to really battle with Hayden. What's the deal with that? Like, what can they do? What do you see happening with that group? Can anybody really consistently make up some time and fight Hayden for his position? Because I think they could if they'd get starts.
I don't.
Okay.
Even if Deke starts like 8th, he'll get him.
Yeah, maybe. I wrote down somewhere, my notes are a jumbled mess here, that there was something I wanted to point out about their starting positions.
Well, I mean, Marchbanks should be on a 450, so he's not going to get starts. So he's just going to the fact that he's doing what he's doing is impressive enough. Kitchen's been too up and down, and Joe seemed like he was going to be the guy the first 2 weeks, and now he's doing the opposite of what he normally does, where he starts off slow. He usually starts off slow and gets faster, and then this time he started off fast and then hasn't been able to put it together. I know he had some tip overs and stuff like that, so that happens. But
so I'm going to call Hunter. Let me do this real quick. Let me get him called. So what I was going to say, okay, lap 1 in the 250 class this weekend, Joe Shimoda was 11th. Hymas was 13th. Marchbanks was 16th. Yeah, you cannot battle Hayden Deegan if you're going to start outside the top 10.
Same thing with Eli and Jet. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to have to get starts to battle with those guys. But our first major guest of the night's on the line. We appreciate Hudson Short coming on, but our first major guest brought to you tonight by Racetech, which is the world's largest aftermarket motorcycle suspension modification company. They have over 40 years of experience providing factory-level suspension to the everyday rider. Racetech Gold Valves provide a plush feel with drastically improved bottoming resistance and increased traction. So visit racetech.com. Go to your local service center, get your suspension tuned, adjusted, at least get the fluids changed. But tonight, Racetech brings us from Factory Honda, HRC, Progressive, Hunter Lawrence. What's up, Hunter?
What's up, man? How are you?
We're good. Are you tired of podcasts already?
I did one last night, and I'm banging out another one tonight, mate. I guess it's just,
I know.
new for me.
I texted Steve. I said, seriously, dude, you're having Hunter on tonight yesterday? And he's like, yeah, why? I was like, I asked Hunter last week to do it this week. I would have rescheduled if I'd known.
He always does that too.
Look, Steve takes precedence. I get it, but I was like,
no, he asked me last week as well, and I was busy and I had to push it back a little last night as well, but we made it happen.
Yeah, well, we're going to try to do a little bit different interview. There might be a couple repeating questions, but we're going to try to do something different than what Steve does. But I want to start off with High Point was your second podium of the season. You got a whole shot. Are you at all surprised with your results and consistency coming off the shoulder surgery so early in the season?
No. I mean, yes and no. I mean, I would have loved to have been able to do a little better in the second and third round, right, and be on the box every weekend. You know, if you go off of last year, I was on the podium every race all the way through until, when was it? Ironman last round, right? So,
yeah.
That's about it. But I mean, you know, just moving forward, bro. That's all it is, honestly.
I guess I coming off an injury, sometimes you might start slow. You haven't had that many gate drops where some of these other guys have. I mean, Eli obviously didn't, and your brother didn't, and still you guys are all up front. So I would think it might take a minute to get the steam going, but apparently not. Yeah,
it's good, man. I mean, we work hard and it's good. We got a lot of healthy guys this season. Obviously, bummer that we lost Chase at the first round, but I think from a fan perspective, it's an unreal year to be able to watch. And, you know, there's great battles every moto of the season so far. Like, there hasn't really been that boring of a race yet. So in the 450 class.
No, and honestly, both classes, there's a lot of good battles if you get past the guys that keep winning. If you just can say, all right, yeah, Jet and Hayden, maybe they are the best guys, but there's so much good racing going on. There's still a lot of excitement in the classes.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, there's been motos that we've been able to make Jet work a little harder for it and, you know, beat him on a moto here and there and stuff, and still so much racing to be had yet.
That's true. And I want to apologize to you, though, because you just talked about last year and how good you were. And coming into the season, as we're talking about who we think is going to do well, I mean, honestly, I overlooked you a little bit. I was like, oh, yeah, Chase is coming off Supercross, you know, and he's going to be good. Eli's back, Jet's back. And I don't think I was fair to you on our shows of giving you enough credit for how good you have been.
Oh, that's all right, man. You don't have to apologize. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. Like, it's all good. It's all good. I feel like people do that a lot with Cooper Webb in Supercross, and the guy's a 3-time champ. You know, like that's a bad dude. You know, so it is what it is. Some guys are in the front of people's minds a little more, and you know, I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to work as hard as I can, enjoy stuff that I enjoy in my life, and go out and put up good results and make the team and my partners proud to be a part of what, you know, I'm trying to go out here and do.
I think that's one of my favorite parts of your personality from the outside looking in, at least, is that stuff doesn't really bother you. You're worried about yourself, man. Do my job. Don't care what other people think. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm just going to go race my dirt bike.
Exactly, mate. I'm only in control of myself.
Yeah.
You know, so I just try to do that the best I can.
Hey, Hunter, with the first 4 races, you know, we've talked about the battles that you guys have had, and the pace does seem to be pretty close for the most part. And there's 4 or 5 of y'all that have kind of been dicing it up. I was interested to see how you felt this year's pace compared to the pace that you were running last year. Does it feel kind of similar? Does it feel different chasing Jet than it does or chasing Eli? How does that kind of all work out compared to last year?
It feels the same, honestly. I think from the year Jet went up in 23 to the 450 class, I think from 24 onwards, it was obviously clear Jet had definitely a level, above everyone else. That might have been, a very big noticeable gap. He was winning some races by 40 seconds, to second place, right? So obviously some guys were not there at some rounds, but still, I think that year he really elevated it. The speed, and I think 24, it was the same level as it is now. I think, obviously, the years are never the same, but yeah, I do think it's a similar speed level to last year. But obviously it's just such a high level, so it's good. It's a very competitive. I feel like some years prior there was a big gap between the top guys and Thingo, and at some races there still is. But
it's really impressive how the guys like Aaron Plessinger and yourself, I feel, have really elevated their game especially this season. AP has really improved, and it's, again, what we just sort of talked about. It's not a one-man show. It really isn't. Every given weekend, you all have a chance to get up there and race for a win, and it's just exciting. Yeah,
it is, honestly. It is. Sorry, my dog's grabbing a squishy toy.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's awesome. And from a fan, again, like, I probably sound like a broken record and like trying to plug the series and stuff, but I mean, dude, you watch good racing, like, we're all a fan of this badass sport. So when you can see, 4 of the baddest dudes go head to head for a whole moto, like Thunder Valley first moto, even this first moto last weekend, or the just passed as a high point, like, dude, they're unreal. Me, AP, Eli, Jet, like, we're all so close, and it's like a chess match, some of the baddest dudes, and obviously we make riding look a little easier than the average Joe, but I think people can appreciate the speed because all the fans, if you're an Eli fan, if you're an AP fan, a Jet fan, or a Hunter fan, you can still take your hat off and go, damn, those boys rode the wheels off those things.
Yeah, it's actually it's cool to watch, but it's a little annoying when you go, like, I raced my regional this weekend. I go out there, like, I'm like, okay, I see how they go through the ruts, right? Let's stand up, let's squeeze the bike, let's hop out of this thing, and instead I tip over and land. Yeah. And I can't. It doesn't correlate. It looks so damn easy on TV, and it is not.
It's not.
That's all right, because you might think that of us, but we think the same thing of the golfers we watch on the PGA Tour when we go out on the course. So I get what you're saying. I can relate to that. It is a full circle moment for everyone on stuff like that.
That's you just made me think of a fun question, Hunter. Like, I'm big into golf too. I was watching. I don't know how much you got to catch it, because obviously you have a job to do, but the U.S. Open was just brutal this weekend. Only one person was under par, which never happens for those guys. If you could compare that to a race that you've experienced of where the track was just so brutal that you were trying to beat the track and not the competition.
Oh, gee.
Did you get to see any of the U.S. Open?
Sorry?
Did you get to see any of the U.S. Open at Oakmont this past weekend?
I did. I got to watch it from Sunday, and, like, dude, that place, another one, Augusta, like, those places don't even look fun to play for me, because I can just see how tough they are and how precise, and you got to put the ball here and you got to move it like this and that, and I can't do that. So it's like, gosh, how many punch shots out of pine straw am I going to have to make here, or how many punch shots out of 6-inch tall second cut, off the fairway? Like, man, it just looks miserable, like, for a weekend hack like myself. But it's kind of tough to pinpoint, like, if that was like a race. It
looks like every race.
It felt pretty similar to what we experienced in the second moto, like, on the Sunday, like, I think it was Sam Burns and Adam Scott about to tee off on that 8th hole, the par 3, the 300-yard par 3, and he's standing over it with a driver, and then just bends over, picks the ball up, and then you start seeing the rain come in sideways on the broadcast, and it felt like that on the weekend. So in the second motor.
That's interesting. I don't really play golf, but he made the golf analogy on Pulp last night too about Steve in the start. So I like that analogy. It did make sense. Let's talk about High Point for just a minute. I know you talked about your goggle preps. Steve brought all that up last night, but just mentally, I want to talk about how you guys ride in those conditions. Some of you on scoops and are still hucking these huge jumps, and like I watched Jet pass Justin Cooper on what seemed to be a flat corner. I don't really understand mentally how you commit in those conditions and trust that the bike's not going to slip out or do something unexpected.
Yeah, it's a lot of trust, mate. It's a big trust thing, and like not sure I can put into words how you can trust it, because it's a lifetime to get to that point. And obviously throttle control, the connection between your right hand and the rear wheel, how much lean angle you're carrying, obviously on the quad, for example, the big quad that was there, like that was a very, very slippery thing. So you want the bike as straight up, as it can be, not on a lean angle, like maybe earlier on in the day when there was more grip. So all of that is just constantly push and pull, right? Like you're constantly push and pulling on, okay, where's my traction? What's the limit? What's the limit? You're constantly fighting at every corner because it's changing every lap. So,
yeah, I can relate, I guess, a little bit at a more minimal. Huh?
No, you can't.
Well, like in a more minimal. Yeah. Okay, you're right. Let's talk about the bike for a minute. Then you did a shock change on press day, correct? At High Point.
Yeah.
Is that something that a significant change like that, is that something that you might regularly do on a press day?
It was, so after press day, we've seen something, and it's been something that we're trying to kind of fix or improve, let's say, and just small characteristics, things that the team sees and I kind of feel as well. And it wasn't a massive shock change. So it wasn't, there's times that we might, let's say 3 races in a row, we might go to a certain point on the clickers and our suspension tech might go, you know what, like I want to bring the clickers back out. So I might make an internal shock change to just get the clickers back, where he thinks they're happiest. So it was good because we made a little change, which, sometimes you make a little change that you're like, it should just, give you a little more hold up in the lower action of the shock, but it shouldn't affect your small bump compliancy and soft touch on the small chattery bumps, but just on the big ones, it should just hold up a little better, but not affect ride height, and sometimes it does the opposite of that, right. So it's always epic, when we get the bike, because we work so relentlessly to get the bike in what we talk about a good window, right? Let's get in the ballpark first. And when we do, we can make these little changes that go to plan, which is the best thing ever, because in motorsports, you can have a plan and sometimes things do not go to the plan. So it was good. It was really good.
Okay. Along with that, you've been searching for something to get rid of you talked about the side-to-side kick that the bike was doing. You guys would say like forward, backwards is okay. Side-to-side's never good. I know you went back to stock linkage. They've added some gussets to the frame around the headstay. Was there a point while you were out there in California trying all these different things that you and Jed, or just you yourself, were like, that's it. This is what we're looking for. We're way closer to where we wanted to be?
Yeah, there is. And before I dive into that, there's I don't want people to think, my bike needs these frame gussets and it needs this reinforcing and stuff like that. There's probably 9 guys in the world that can do to a frame or a motorcycle what my brother and I do and put the stress on that frame that we do right at the level we race. So this is for anyone else that wants to go and ride the bike. You don't have to do this stuff.
Sure.
So let me just clear that up. It's like, the the guy that just picked up golf And he goes, you know what? I need some blades like Tiger has. And you're like, no, you don't, buddy. That's the last thing you need. Trust me.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Okay.
But yeah, it's good, mate. Like I'm sure you've heard it a million times. Everyone's looking for the comfort. Everyone wants a predictable, comfortable bike that they can have trust in. Like we were talking about earlier, the side knob trust and all that stuff. And we're stoked, you know, the team and us work extremely hard to get Jet and myself more comfortable and what we ultimately feel like we can replicate every single weekend and a lot better. So, yeah, it's good, mate. It's good.
Yeah, and it's funny. We'll hear the vet guys like, "Oh man, like I don't want to go ride because I don't have A-kit suspension yet. I'm waiting for it to come in.
Buddies, yeah.
I got it coming in. Like I need eight. No, you don't, dude. Just
This bike's not fast enough,
yeah.
bro.
You're not using all of its potential, man. Like
yeah, exactly. The stock motorcycle is so capable.
Yeah.
In today's time and age, like if I was to go fly back to Switzerland to go riding with some mates, I wouldn't even like try and organize getting my bike sent over there. Like I just give me a stock Honda 450. Like they're so capable out of the box and so good to just go and ride and have fun on and stuff, you know. What we're doing is I mean, we're not racing a stock motorcycle. So anyway, it's two completely different things, you know, the production bike to what we're racing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how even though you guys have so much difference that it still sells motorcycles.
Sure.
That you guys are winning. Like it's crazy how that marketing still works even though they're not at the same at all. And that's kind of what I wanted to ask. Like obviously you guys have a really cool program. Honda's known for being one of the greatest race teams of all time. They talk to Lars all the time. You guys are dialing it in. Your dad's part of the program. What is your favorite thing about being a part of Honda? Maybe something about the brand that you like. What is it like being a Honda factory rider?
It's awesome. First and foremost, I love all of the team around us, all the way up to Brandon and Jeremy, the big bosses, Lars, Bill Savino, all those guys are awesome. And then obviously all of our team staff, mechanics, suspension tech, my race mechanic, everyone about the organization there from when we first joined with them in 2021. And man, it's awesome. Like I genuinely love the people that I work with and it's epic. When you love the people you go to work with, it's badass because we love our job and we all get along well. And I think that atmosphere is such a good thing. Like I genuinely care about all of them and, you know, their families and their kids and stuff. Like it feels like a family, you know? So, that's probably the first thing that pops to my mind. And like we've been fortunate enough to go to Kumamoto in Japan to see the Honda headquarters, go around and you know, they've treated us like kings over there and, you know, show us how big Honda really is. And dude, it's epic. Like it really, really is cool. And we're very, very honored to be a part of such a conglomerate, just unreal company, you know? And like you said, racing sells motorcycles. Like we are in a kind of funny, twisted way, just a marketing thing to sell motorcycles.
Yeah.
Even though the racing, like, dude, this is our whole life, but we are just another version of a marketing team, you know, to go out, market the Honda product as best as we can. So it's kind of funny when you look at it that way, because imagine trying to tell that to someone else on another team. Like, no, it's all good. Like, dude, you're just a marketing
you're a tool. Yeah, you're
No,
basically a
man,
tool.
I'm the greatest.
Yeah, you're a marketing tool. And you're like, dude, like, this is my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
That is an interesting way to think about
Yes,
it.
if they weren't selling dirt bikes, like, maybe you wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunter Lawrence Tonight brought to you by
probably
Race.
wouldn't.
Oops, sorry, go ahead. Hunter Lawrence Tonight brought to you by Race Tech. Just a couple more things for you. Weekend coming off. Some guys, like I was listening to the post-race press conference, and the 250 guys, Hayden and Levi Kitchen, said they're going probably out on the boat, while Joe said, Vial said, I'm going to go, test. So where are you at? You taking a weekend off, or you want to keep the grinding to keep it going?
No, I have 1.5 to 2 weeks off at the end of after Nations. Like that's my time off. That's my year. I have 2 weeks off per year. That's my
Jesus.
kind of week off thing, mate. No, yeah, the work doesn't stop, even if, you know, Jet's won the first 4 rounds and he's right there, right with me doing the same thing. So there's, we're paid to do this. This is our job. And, you know, we treat it as a job very much so. Obviously we have cool things we do in our spare time. Like obviously once we're off the clock, just as anyone else does. That's just how it is, man. Like, I don't know. We're old school kids. We kind of grew up watching our dad go to work at, you know, 4:35 a.m. in the morning and get home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we don't know how to sit still or sit on a boat on a lake, you know.
Yeah.
There's stuff to be done. There's always stuff to be done.
I had a feeling that was the direction you would go with your answer, so not super surprised. Okay, couple more. Media as a whole. You guys kind of stepped away a little bit and kind of distanced yourselves, it felt like last year. What could we do better? What about the motocross media do you think we could do better?
I definitely think one thing that Gypsy Tales does very well is, regardless if people like it or not, he's continuously posting and putting out clips in kind of a Joe Rogan show fashion, how they do the Joe Rogan clips, and Gypsy's really doing that. And he does a very good job of being professional and is kind of portraying and marketing it that way that he could be at a UFC press conference and it's taken as a you know, big media house. I think that's to be respected, whether you like him or not. I think he's doing a really good job of that. So there's that. That's kind of the first thing that pops to mind. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a journalist. That's probably not the best question for me.
Okay. Well, we'll go. How about this one? We do a top 5 on here every week, and this week's top 5, and it usually doesn't have to do with moto. And this week's top 5 is like things that you went, holy crap, I can't believe this just happened in my life. So I want to know something that you've got to do that was like, whoa, I cannot believe I just had this experience. And it could be because of your job. Like I figure meeting Adam Jones might be one of those. But is there something that just stands out?
Yeah, meeting Adam Jones was epic. Being at Tool for sound check, like that's cool, going from just listening to them on, you know, your phone, right, on Apple Music or YouTube or whatever like that. That's a sick one. Being at the Masters, being able to go to Augusta, the Masters was another really, really cool one. That one's sick. What else?
Did you get a pimento cheese sandwich?
I didn't. We got spoiled. I got hosted by Mercedes-Benz, so we were at the Mercedes house just to the left of the 10th hole, which had, I'm going to sound real bougie here, like they had you had your own butler and your own waiter and like whatever you wanted. They said whatever you want, we'll make it happen. We're here to give you the best day of your life, which was just incredible. Like the service, the level of service and the experience. I think the Masters is probably one of the most. There's obviously other ones that I'm forgetting, but that one was really special. You know, no phones allowed on the venue. Just everything about that was really top notch. You know, it was a different kind of crowd too. Everyone there was a successful businessman or a person of some kind of stature to be able to have access to even go and watch. And everyone acted in a very, very respectful manner. Like I said, no phones, no running allowed on the premises. Everyone had, you know, not running to surround the golf ball or whatever. Like, it was just a very gentleman-like event, which was pretty cool. But like, dude, I'm 25 and I've done a lot of very, very fortunate things, but I get a lot of satisfaction from the simplest things as well. I mean, simple, but stuff that I always dreamed of as a kid, you know? So like last year, after my 2 weeks off at the end of the year, you know, me and my best mate, Siwa, we're driving some very nice sport cars through the mountains of Switzerland, having lunch at a gas station. Like,
that's awesome.
That's epic. There's not much more I really could ask for.
Yeah.
Like bitching cars, driving through Swiss Alps, having a badass little lunch at a Swiss gas station or petrol station. Like, the gas stations are a hell of a lot nicer than the ones here. I will say that, but it's not like I'm just having a packet of cigarettes and
Right.
tobacco chew or something, you know,
A Slurpee and a hot dog.
Yeah. I'm not having a corn dog and like a slushy, you know, like grab a Red Bull, fill up, grab some good food, and, you know, back on the road. Like,
That's
it's
awesome.
epic.
Well, I think you deserve it, man. You and your brother, you've always been really nice to us and friendly, and you got a great attitude. So, yeah, you deserve it, man. You've been successful and worked hard. So, my last question for you, you've already said you don't get much time off. Let's say down the road, we're about to have Cody Barnes on. He's Phoenix Honda's GNCC XC2 rider. Would you ever like to do an off-road race, try it out, like Ironman or something like that?
Yeah, I probably would. Honestly, I probably would. Funny you say that. I watched a video of Erzberg, that race.
Yep.
Is it in Austria or Germany or somewhere?
Austria.
It looks
Austria, yeah.
It is Austria. I was going to say the countryside looks Austrian. That looks pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I really would be epic. You know, Ben Townley has a thing in New Zealand where he does these tours, right? Where they go enduro riding and stuff like that. And he has people come and stay with him. And I thought it'd be pretty cool to be after, you know, obviously I still want to be with Honda for the rest of my career and, you know, do cool events for Honda where we, you know, maybe ride African safari twins around Moab or something, you know, or enduro ride, stuff like this, cool little tours and events like that for you know, Honda dealers or whoever, you know, Honda VIP clients and stuff like that. But that's kind of my idea for riding wise after my career. But obviously, like a car shop is my other really big passion, like a custom shop, wheels, tires, body kits, performance, like all that stuff.
I dig it. Well, Hunter, it means a lot for us for you to do the show. We tried to give you not reach. I didn't bother you for like a year, so I'm glad you did the show. It means a lot to us, and can't wait for. We'll get back in a couple weeks and see you at Southwick.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. You boys have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Hunter Lawrence tonight, brought to you by Race Tech. That was fun, man. It's been a long time since we've talked to him.
They have a cool life, man.
Yeah, and they're just great. They seem to be great kids, right? I mean,
like I like his golf analogies because I'm part of
you
that
can relate.
Dude,
I get it. Like I understand.
I wouldn't. I'm not even to the level to even try to even think about going to the Masters. Like there's people that you have to get, like you bid on tickets, and
like it's way more exclusive than the Super Bowl and
like people. There's been people that have tried to get tickets for like 20 years and then they finally get them.
Wow.
And it's like a big deal.
Yeah.
Like in the fact that he got to even do it in the upper echelon of like being in the Mercedes hospitality. Like, dude, that's freaking cool, man.
Explain the pimento cheese sandwich to me.
So like they've had like the same, you know, it's a game of, it's a tournament of tradition. Yeah. They've had the same like menu and it's the same price for like 80 years or something like that.
Wow.
And then one of the things is a pimento cheese sandwich. It's like, it's still like $1.25 or something like that. And it's always the same. That's cool. It's just known. It's like a, I don't know. It's the same thing as X brand goggles. Like, you know, like I don't know. I'm not really explaining it very well, but it's just a thing. Tradition. It's a tradition.
Yeah. Okay.
Like how they like at the Indy 500, they drink the milk at the end of it.
Or kiss the bricks.
The bricks, it's a pimento cheese at the Masters.
Just something you do.
Yeah, it's just something you do. Yeah.
X-Brand is your choice for clear vision and a leader in motocross and off-road goggles. X-Brand is used by many of the top GNCC riders, AMA, Supercross, motocross, and arena cross riders, including Kyle Chisholm, Freddie Noren, Henry Miller, Michael Hicks, Richard Taylor, Jay Robin. Hunter Lawrence wears a version of the X-Brand Lucids made by, what's the word? Not licensed. What's the word? Branded by Alpine Stars, but same goggles. We appreciate X-Brand and Rich Taylor and those guys helping us out. Tonight, the X-Brand Forum check-in is, we're going to go through this pretty quick because we got a bunch of other stuff to get to, but it's titled Brownie All Right? ? And really what it comes down to is, if you haven't heard, Mike Brown had a pretty serious crash and injury. You can check it at support at Road to Recovery. But Brownie's 53 years old. He had a concussion, broken neck, suffered a mini stroke due to the injuries, swollen artery caused by bone trauma, and He has screws in his C1 and metal plates in C5 and C7. Pretty significant injuries for a guy like Brownie at that age. He's telling people from Understand he'll be back, but just really want to put our thoughts and prayers and all that out to Brownie. And if you can do anything, road to recovery. If anybody can recover, it's going to be Brownie.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's really all. That's going to be the Expert Informed check-in tonight. Any thoughts?
Is it messed up to think that that's your spot that you needed?
Well, actually, the guy that I needed to beat that beat me isn't even going.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, there's one more.
And then Emig didn't show up. If Emig had showed up, I would have been 8th. So
you don't think you got him?
No, I don't think so, man. Appreciate you asking, as if there might be a chance. But
no, I knew you didn't have a chance.
Yeah, I know you did. I know you did. Evans coolant emails. What we got on time? 15 minutes before we get Cody on. Evans waterless coolant protects your engine because it always stays liquid.
Cool.
It just stays liquid.
Oh.
Steam inside the engine creates...
Why would you set it up like it had something to go
just
after
for failure. Steam inside the engine creates hot spots and detonation, but with Evans, the metal is always...
liquid.
Cooled.
I knew it. I was just fucking...
Used by HRC Honda, Factory Beta USA, poor Benny, AMA Pro, Factory Yamaha, and many other teams. Regardless of sponsorships, Evans is in the bikes on the podium. Okay, let me pull this up real quick. We only got not a lot of emails this week. But we got one from Faith, and we have not. Faith is a regular in our chat, right? Dog Lover, I think. Dog Lover.
Yeah, she hasn't been as consistent, but yeah, she pops in there. But
all
yeah,
right. Faith is cool. Faith has been really cool and a supporter of the show for a long time, and we have not talked about the ProX Vital MX Fantasy results yet. But she said, "Hey, just want to send an email about my points results from High Point. I got 250 points here in my team." With those points, I'm now 3rd in the Global League and 2nd in the MotoXpod League for this round. Wow. My best in any fantasy game ever, I think. I wish you luck in whatever you pursue next. She's talking about my job. I hope you're able to stay in the industry. I'll still support the show. So, thank you, Faith. Congratulations on
good.
Killer results. Really stoked for you. So I want to give a shout out to her on that. Okay, let's do...
Is that the only email?
Huh?
Is that the only email?
I got 2 more. Just look at time and other things I want to get to. I kind of feel like one of them was hey, what's a trait that you have that you'd like to change about yourself? I kind of almost want to save that for when we have TJ or Chasen to have more talk. What do you think? You want to save it or you want to go with it? We also got one what's advice for yourself that you would give yourself like when you graduated high school if you could go back? So those are 2 that we could have a bigger discussion with the group.
It's up to you, man.
No, I'm letting you have this one. You decide. Do we do one of them, both of them,
or neither of them? Let's do one of them, and let's do the high school one.
All right. So what advice would you give yourself if you could go back right before you graduated high school or say graduation night?
Just learn a trade. I went to school and just kind of floated around for a while.
Yeah.
I wish that I could go back and tell myself to just to pick a trade or a hobby or something. I mean, not necessarily a hobby, but like something that you can do for a living and like stick with it. Like,
yep.
I wish I had just learned how to become an electrician or a plumber or maybe not construction stuff like that, but like just get wet. Like my buddy that's about to design our new website for us. Like
MotoXpod.com coming soon.
Yeah. He didn't go to school and he kind of was just doing the jobs and this and that. And he just taught himself how to do that. And now he's very well off doing it. Owns his own company, works for himself, works from home, does his own thing, and just kind of taught himself how to do that. And like I know I could probably still do that, but going then I would tell myself that and to just to chill the fuck out, bro. Just like life isn't that serious. Just calm down and just. And,
I wish that's more of a character trait.
Yeah,
and I don't know if telling yourself that kind of thing really works. Maybe it does for some people.
Yeah,
it doesn't for me.
Like, you're going to be all right, bro. Just calm down.
That will lead into some stuff I want to talk about before we get Cody on here in a minute. But I'm almost, my advice is almost identical. Find a trade, stick with something, try not to bounce around. That would be, so an update. I did get hired. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show or not, but I did get hired. My buddies.
At the beginning, you said I got a job.
Okay, but I don't know if I mentioned last week that I might be looking at this particular job. But my buddies own a AC company, air conditioning company, and they hired me yesterday. So
there you go.
Yeah, and I think like there's a couple other opportunities.
Sounds like a cool job.
Yeah, well, it's probably not cool. It's probably hot.
I know. I was just trying to make an air conditioning.
It's just like it's a trade. I had a couple other opportunities that looked like possibilities, but this one was like I know a lot of people are reaching out and go, hey, we want you to stay in the industry, and we will stay in the industry. We're going to continue to do the show. That's the plan, and we'll do a lot of stuff on MotoXpod.com. I don't want to get into too much of that right now. That's not fair to Vital because I still work for Vital, but we'll tell you what's going on in the future. But I was kind of, in my mind, like I'm about to be 50. I left my job of 15 years with the city of White Oak, Texas. That was a good job. It was safe, like as in like I was gonna. This job wasn't going anywhere. Right. I have good retirement, and I took a chance on the dream job, coming to work at Vital, doing moto media, and I'm glad I did. I got to experience some cool stuff. Some of those things will be in our T-Boat USA Top 5 in a little bit, and I'm glad I did that. But now that they decided to go a different direction. I've been a freaking mess for the last 2 weeks trying to figure out what is my future. I'm 50 years old without a job. Very negative. My girlfriend Amber gave me a lecture Thursday. I can tell all that story here in a minute. But I was just like, I need to find a job that I can do for a career that I feel safe, like I'm going to have this secure, and it's a trade that I can take with me. That's always going to be there. And that's why I said yes to this job. Yeah, it's sort of going back to a regular job. That's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. But that leads into the discussion of my Loretta's South Central Regional weekend. I decided Thursday morning-ish, I'm not going. I texted Michael Gage, who I was going with, and said that my headspace is a mess. I don't want to get hurt. I'm not in a good mood. I don't want to go ride my motorcycle, blah, blah, blah. And Michael was like, man, I understand. Yeah, I don't want you to go out there and get hurt. It makes sense. So then Amber and I are talking around lunchtime. She's like, why'd you not go? Why are you still home? And I told her, and she's like, well, why wouldn't you just go do what you love to do? Like, you're just going to sit at home. It's not going to change anything. You're going to be in a bad mood. Why just sit at home and be in a negative mood, basically? I mean, well, kind of all the things I just told you. I don't want to get hurt, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, you basically tell me I needed to go. She thought I should go, but I didn't make my mind up to go. A few hours later, evening time, Kiefer FaceTimes me, like, you ready for this weekend? I was like, oh, man, I didn't want this call to come. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not going. And I got chewed out again. Yeah. And then Heather's in the background, Aiden's in the background. They're all like, yeah, what are you going to do? Just sit around and mope all weekend? I was like, yeah, probably.
Probably.
But that's how I wired.
Corner.
That's what I told Amber. I was like, she's like, change your tone, right? Change your outlook. Be positive. Like, I'm not wired that way. This is how I feel. But between the two of them, maybe they're right. Fine, I'll go. So I loaded up and I went Friday morning. And throughout the weekend, like literally all I'm thinking about when I'm on the track is I don't have a job. Yeah. I'm waking up still at 2 a.m. in the Roach Motel we stayed at, literally a Roach Motel.
You saw roaches?
I didn't, but Kylie Stallings was leaving when we were coming in, and I asked her the next day, I said, you guys decide not to stay there? And she goes, oh, no. And she showed me on her phone. Like, we're laying in bed, and a roach crawled on her arm, and it was in the bed. Ugh. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The whole time, I can wake up at 2 a.m., and immediately at 2 a.m., I don't have a job, and I'm up for 5 hours. Everybody's having a good time, laughing, and I'm a butthole pretty much. Just like, yeah, I don't care. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm not having a good time because I had a bad attitude.
Yeah, attitude is everything.
Then Monday, I get hired, and it all goes away.
Yeah.
And that's me, man. That's me being a negative person, me being pessimistic. And I told my buddy JP, I said, could you not have told me this Thursday? Like,
you might have made it to Loretta's.
Yeah. But anyway.
That's why, man. That's why you can't dwell and focus on things. Like, it always works out.
A couple things. Thank you to all the listeners and I hate using the word fans, but people that like what I do, that have reached out and had kind words and said, it's going to work out. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And thank you. But it's hard to hear that when you're in that headspace. But I do appreciate the fact that people were saying that. I appreciate Amber being supportive in the way she is, and Kiefer, giving me a kick in the butt. And it's just me, man. I get dark place. That's just
you go to the dark side.
That's the way I'm wired, and I don't like it. I wish I knew how to change it, but I don't necessarily know how to change that. But I appreciate everybody. And looking back now that the pressure is off my shoulders, I'm like, oh, it was a cool weekend, actually.
Yeah.
Like having Andrew Short come up and do that, pack my gate, and hanging with my friends. And Michael Gage made it. Michael Keating, our friends, made it. It was a cool weekend. Underground did a fantastic job. The track was so muddy and sloppy Friday. And
Was it rain? Oh, from rain?
yeah, because it rained it
Oh,
was
yeah.
supposed to rain all weekend. That's
Yeah.
why I think Emig didn't show. It was supposed to be a like
No,
I think
and
they were
it's
calling
been
for
it's been
4 or 5
raining, and it's been raining just like the last. It's
Yeah.
been like almost like a monsoon here the last few weeks.
I've had a bunch of people ask if I was going to go as an alternate. I haven't decided yet if maybe I'll register, but I'm starting a new job. It's kind of hard to tell your new boss literally a month after you start, oh, I'm going to be gone for a week and a half or so.
The good
by
news
the way.
is your boss does race.
So when I walked in yesterday morning to the interview, JP, my buddy, he's like, hey, I was watching, he was coming back from his vacation. He's like, I was watching your timing the whole time, dude. You were so close. It was awesome. Are you going to go as an alternate? I was like, well, that's kind of on you. One, are you going to hire me? And then two, if you hire me, are you going to be cool in a month when I go, hey, I need to be gone for a week? He's like, yeah, dude, I want to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know, though. That's probably unrealistic.
Yeah.
So that's up in the air, but I just want to tell everybody thank you. I want to shout out Neil at screenprintingdone.com. If you listen to Kiefer stuff or Daniel Blair stuff, Neil has been an advertiser with them. He reached out, and he's going to make some MotoXpod shirts. So we're going to have 50 shirts that we're going to sell for the show, thanks to Neil. So if you guys have wanted a MotoXpod shirt, keep your ears open because those are coming soon, and they will be limited.
And if you don't want a MotoXpod shirt, get one anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Get one anyways. A few more minutes before we get Cody on. We got time to let's do the ProX fantasy recap real quick.
Alrighty.
ProX is rooted in racing from motocross to off-road and supporting teams such as Ampro, Yamaha. Congrats to Liam Draper again for his U.S. Sprint Enduro Championship. Also supporting Pro Circuit Kawasaki and SLR Honda. They've been supplying quality components for almost 50 years. From complex jobs like an engine rebuild to simple maintenance, including filters, chains, and sprockets, ProX aims to bridge the gap between OE quality and affordability. You can find ProX at your local dealer or visit pro-x.com and search for parts for your bike. Okay, so here's what we got. Fantasy recap for the MotoXpod League. High point. I had 208 points. And this week I tried to kind of lean more your direction a little bit and only took 8 riders with some higher priced riders. I think I did a little better. I think 208 is better than most of my scores. Steve's back pocket won our league with 251 points with 7 riders. That included Jet, Hunter, RJ, Benoit Paturel, Hayden Deegan, Hymus, and Swole. So Hymus kind of was hurt us. No, actually, Hymus wasn't bad.
Yeah, because he still got like third.
Derek Drake's the one that hurt me. Derek Drake got me 0, and Drew Adams got me 6. Everybody else was pretty good.
I beat you again. I got 231. I was only 20 off the best score. So
Wow.
and I did 6 riders.
6 riders. Who are your riders?
Eli, Hunter, Hayden, Chance, Marchbanks, and Cochran.
All right, I'm switching my tactic again this week.
I think it's different with the outdoors because
it
you
seems
just
to be, man.
'cause I mean, like, dude, Hayden's almost a guaranteed 50 points unless like a bike thing happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I what I did is Hunter was a little bit cheaper, so I went with Hunter and Eli rather than getting just Jet.
Yeah.
and that actually allowed me to get. I still had enough money to get Casey Cochran at the end because he was in that lower end, but still kind of expensive, and it was.
He got pretty good
and
results.
he got points.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, guys. So that's the ProX VitalMX Fantasy Recap. If you're not playing the VitalMX Fantasy game, sign up. It's free. It's a lot of fun. But we got to get to our next guest of the night, who's brought to you tonight by Guts Racing. Andy Gregg and the Guts Racing crew continue to provide the best seats and foam available. If you want the same seats used by Rockstar, Husqvarna, Hep Suzuki, and many more, then you need Guts Racing. They have numerous color possibilities, staple or Velcro installation options, wing seats, and the best foam in the business with the Phantom Ultralight seat foam. Don't forget they have the complete seats for Talare and Super 73 and covers for the Sur-On Segway, and they strive to ship orders within 36 business hours. GutsRacing.com. Use promo code VitalMX to save. Tonight, Guts Racing brings us from the Phoenix Racing GNCC team, XC2 rider Cody Barnes. What's up, Cody?
How's it going? How are you?
We're good, man. Pleasure to meet you. I think this is the first. I might have met you at one of the rounds just and said hi to you, but I don't know that we've actually ever met.
No, I don't think that we have.
Well, I've been fortunate enough to race Ironman the last 3 years. I did. What other rounds did I do? Last year I did Big Buck, and yeah, I think that's it. A Wild Boar the year before. So I've done a few, but I'm more of a moto guy, but I really, really love off-road racing, and I think it's extremely underappreciated.
Yeah, no, I think for how gnarly our races are, I think it kind of does get overshadowed a little bit. But yeah, hopefully more people come out and try it. I think it'll open a lot of people's eyes on how gnarly the GNCC circuit is, and yeah, I think it could bring a lot of people to a lot better idea of what we go through.
Yeah, for sure. And I see like Justin Starling's come out the last couple years, some of the Supercross guys, and then I got to do a quad team race at Ironman with Damon Bradshaw and Ryan Villapoto and your buddy Johnny Gallagher last year. I was by far the weak link, but such a cool experience, man. And yeah, something I'll never forget.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that you, for one, got on a team with those guys. But Johnny's a pretty cool guy. I like him a lot. Me and him are pretty good buddies, and he's still, from what I hear, rips on a quad. I've been helping him out a little bit when he was here on the dirt bike skills, and he's coming along though. He's made progress. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, he's a great dude. But let's get to you, man. Before we get into your season results and your career a little bit, let's get some of your background for those of our listeners that don't know you. Where'd you grow up? I know you got started with Midwest Woods as a woods racer, but yeah, give us your history a little bit and getting into dirt bikes.
Yeah, so I'm from a little town called Sterling, Illinois, about 2 hours directly west of Chicago. Yeah, like you said, growing up, grew up racing hair scrambles at Bill Gussie's local series. That was my local series, MXC. And then Ron Whipple, he had a local series as well, off-road series called WFO Promotions. And that's kind of how, I got started. My dad didn't race or anything like that. Just actually one of his really good buddies' son raced, and he got my dad, I guess I should say, talked into taking me to one of the races, and we just kind of kept at it. It was quite funny, actually. The same person who got my dad to take me to the races, Joe Fortune from Fortune Cycles, is still one of my longtime sponsors from my hometown. So they've helped me out a bunch throughout my career. But yeah, so grew up racing those two series, and Bill Gussie had a traveling series called the OMA Nationals. He doesn't have that anymore. As he's gotten older, they went away from that series, and yeah, did a couple like motocross races, just local stuff. Garahan Ward, he had a series called Mega Cross, and it was just a little under the light, like stadium cross type thing, and that's what I grew up doing. On Saturday nights, we would go race the Mega Cross series, and then Sunday morning we would go race hair scrambles. And yeah, I did that honestly all the way until, I was probably 16, 17, and started doing fairly good in the pro class around our local area. And that's when I started branching off to Indiana series IXCR racing. And they had some faster pros, and then we always did Ironman GNCC, because that was the closest one for us, only 4 hours away from where I lived in Illinois. And it wasn't until I think 2016, I won 250A at the final round Ironman, and I think I got second amateur. And then the next year, my good buddy Randy Conklin, he always went to the first 2 rounds of GNCC. So in 2017, he was going to take me to the 2 season openers. That was my plan. I was like 17 years old, still in school, was just going to go off and wing these first 2 rounds. And my parents ended up going with me, and we went to Big Buck 2017. And I won 250A and got top amateur. And then the following round in Florida, I got second in 250A, second amateur, overall amateur. And I was like, man, maybe I have a shot at like maybe doing good and becoming something. And so I ran that whole year, and I kind of started my whole GNCC career, and we're still here.
Yeah, we're here in 2025. So for people that don't know, you're currently 4th overall between XC1 and XC2, 3rd in XC2, currently in XC2 class, which you finished the last 2 years in 3rd. So we got to figure out a way to get you up one more step. But you have 7 podiums out of 8 rounds. What's it going to take, to make that next step? I mean, it's really impressive how the XC2 has really become almost the dominant class.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I'm still asking myself what I need to do to get that middle step. We have Grant Davis, and dude, the kid's killing it. I'm competing against him, and I hate losing to the kid, but I have to also recognize that what he's doing is like incredible, honestly, when you put it in perspective. I mean, and I think overall for, myself, Angus, who sits second, and, Grant, we've all elevated our game. I think, the last 2 or 3 rounds, all 3 of us have been inside the top 5 overall, which, it hasn't been uncommon to see XC2 riders, on the overall podium, but I don't think ever as consistently as what me, Angus, and Grant have been doing. And, Grant's physically winning these races from the XC2 line. So it's crazy, honestly. And yeah, I mean, finishing 3rd the last 2 years it does kind of make me mad.
That's good though.
I want to do better than that. But, I mean, dude, you look at the points right now, and the kid that's winning my class is the overall points leader for the whole entire series.
Yeah.
And then Gus is, in 3rd overall, and I'm in 4th overall. So it's like, man. But yeah, hopefully, we got, I believe, 5 rounds left. Snowshoe is this weekend, and then we have 4 rounds when we come back from summer break. And yeah, hopefully I can just get up there and finish in the center of the box. Really, that's my goal, and that's where we need to be.
Scotty?
Yeah, Snowshoe coming up. That's kind of
Howard's Hole.
Yeah, that's renowned. Is that one that you mark on the calendar as you're looking forward to? That's one of your favorites, or is it marking like, okay, I just got to make it through this one?
I would say kind of both, honestly. Coming from Illinois, I don't think there's a single rock in like an hour driving distance of me. Like, I never rode rocks growing up. So that's been a big change, but I do enjoy it. Like, now being able to practice them more often and stuff. The more really technical sections, I'm actually like fairly good in that. What I kind of struggle with is just letting it hang out a little bit on those. We have to run quite a bit fast logging roads to get to kind of where we need to go that are pretty high speed. And sometimes I kind of chicken out when I need to be twisting the throttle more like some of the other guys. So, yeah, I think, but overall, I'm looking forward to it this year. I've been riding rocks quite a bit, and really happy with my setup I have. So I'm looking forward to it this year.
Yeah, Scotty and I, we're not really off-road guys anyway, but we have
I'm doing one this weekend.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, we have an enduro place near us that we did an event last year or the year before.
2 years ago, yeah.
And it's rocky.
That was hard. That was hard enduro. That wasn't like
but it's the rocks in general. Yeah. I like the flowy stuff, like Ironman or Big Buck. That's fun.
Yeah, Ironman's one of the best tracks, one of the most fun ones, I think, on the circuit. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, Snowshoe, from what I've heard, I can only compare it to my first couple of years going there, which my first year was 2017. And from what I heard, like, even then it was tamed way back than what it used to be. But now, I mean, it's kind of hard to say because also like my riding has gotten way better than when I started. So some of the stuff that probably back then I thought was like really hard and really gnarly, like now I'm like, I don't think twice about it. but there still is like, I would say 3 to 4 sections that are like pretty hard enduro and pretty technical. And I say this, and this will probably be the year they're going to hear it, and then they're going to throw in a bunch of hard stuff for us. Some of you, a bunch of people are going to be cussing me when they're out there. But yeah, I mean, it is this one is the hardest, I would say, technically, like as a technical standpoint of riding, it's the most technical track there is with all the rock gardens and everything.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So when I've talked about doing more GNCCs, like Randy Hawkins, those guys are like, yeah, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do. Well, they say you should come to Snowshoe to experience it, but you won't like it. So I think I'm out. I'd like to go watch, but yeah, I'm really gonna. I want to do Ironman again this year because I have yet to do 4 full laps. I always make it 3, and the girls go blowing by me, and then I'm like, thank God it's over. But my goal is to get 4 laps in. If I could, and I always have an opportunity with Ampro. Randy always says I can use a bike, and Stu actually texted me the other day and said if I want to do it on one, he'll get me a Kawasaki. So I'm gonna try to do Ironman again this year. But anyway, this isn't about me. This is about you. Of the 5 rounds coming up, besides Ironman, is there one that you're really most excited about?
Honestly, I would say John Penton in Ohio. And the reason being that's one of my favorites. I've had really good success there. I've actually, my only 2 wins in XC2 come from that track, actually. But, you know, it's not, I don't like that track for that reason. I've had, you know, success there, but it has the John Penton section, it's called. You know, we cross the road, and it's usually this pretty technical section, but how that is laid out is very similar to the racing that I grew up doing. You know, more single track, and it just kind of reminds me of what I grew up racing. So for me, that one is always one that I look forward to, and that I like is that one.
Okay, yeah, that sounds cool. I don't know much about that one. I need to watch some YouTube videos, Scotty, but I want to go back. I just had this memory. And I was actually talking to my boss, Michael Lindsay, earlier today, and we were both at Ironman in 22, and you got annihilated, dude. And I actually went and watched that video today. So take us through that crash on Ironman Hill.
Yeah. So this was, 22. It was on like the side hill of Ironman Hill, like in a sense, but, it was a super dusty race. I think I needed, if I remember correctly, I had to get like second or try and win in order to get, I think, second or third in the championship, something like that. And it was super, super dusty, and I got a horrible start. And I remember telling my team and stuff that, like, I was nervous to even go up this hill. Like, it was like you couldn't walk up it. You couldn't even climb up it.
I was going around it.
Yeah, like, dude. Super, super technical climb, and I got a horrible start. I needed to make up time, and like 5 of the people went around it in front of me. I'm like, all right, well, like I got to go up it. Like this was, you know, with the dust, I couldn't see, couldn't make passes, and I was trying to get to the front. So I shot up it, and everything was fine. But I kind of like in the video, you can see that I jumped like twice as I was going up, and the second time I jumped, I like hard enduro splattered this like dead stump. Like I like jumped it and hit it with my rear tire, and I made it over it. But when I landed, I was still on the steep part of the hill. Well, I gave it, you know, a handful of throttle to get going, and the bike wheelied and started coming over backwards. And I just kind of couldn't get away from the bike. Like, in some of the videos, it almost looked like I tried to do like a foot plant 180 and go back down the hill.
Yes.
But like I just couldn't get away from the bike, like how I was falling and everything. And then, unluckily for me, you know, Gus Riordan, the guy that's second in the championship right now, he was coming up the hill at the time I was falling. And how this hill was set up, I mean, you had to be committed at the bottom when you turn the corner. Like there was no looking up the hill to really see if it was clear. Like it was something that you just had to commit to, and Angus committed to it. And yeah, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's for sure. And yeah, he hit me, and you know, he hit pretty much. I think his fork hit my helmet, the back of my helmet, as I was falling down, and yeah, I mean, I was out, and I mean, I have no recollection of it, to be honest. I remember everything up until like falling down the hill, really. Mm-hmm. And then like, I don't remember anything at the hill. I don't remember getting carted out of the woods, and where it was a horrible spot for the paramedics to get to me, because it was across the creek in a ravine. So there was no way to get ATV there. So I think they ended up like stopping the people that were coming down the trail to carry me out and across the creek and get me out of the woods.
Oh, wow.
And then, yeah, I got transported to Crawfordsville Hospital, and then they flew me from there to Indy, the trauma center there, and ran a bunch of results. And I mean, I don't remember any of it. Jeez. There's people that when I was like on the backboard, actually my father-in-law came and spoke to me, asked me if I was all right. Like zero recollection of ever speaking to him. Like don't remember speaking to my parents, anything. I remember a little bit of the helicopter ride. Like I remember waking up and my lower back was in a ton of pain. And I was like, oh man, like something's not right. But then I went back out because I don't remember getting to Indy or any of the scans or anything. And then I woke up from what I like when I started remembering, like I woke up in the hospital bed, like my parents were already there. And so it's a good like 2-ish, 3-ish hours that like I have no recollection of really. And then
scary.
Yeah, super. This was like I would say my biggest concussion that I've ever had. And like, I dealt with symptoms for like really bad symptoms for 2-3 months. Wow. And then even throughout the whole entire season in 2023, I do the US Sprint Enduro Series, which, is another type of racing, but how that works is like there's 2 different tracks, and we like it's similar to the International 6 Days of Enduro. Like there's a field track that there's ribbon on each side, and pretty much whoever can go through it the fastest 6 times throughout the weekend. And then there's an enduro test, same thing. Whoever has the lowest time wins. And like all year, like I could go out and you know e-bike that track 6 times. Mm-hmm. And like when I would go out my very first test, it was like I was looking at the test for the first time. Like I could not remember. Like I had really, really hard time remembering things. And yeah, luckily, you know, I've been able to recover. I'm a lot better at remembering things now, somewhat.
That's good, yeah.
If you ask my wife, she'll probably argue that. She'll probably
use that as an excuse.
Remembering and listening is 2 different things.
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah, you can use that as an excuse.
That's right.
Yeah. I remember hearing about it. We were in the pits. I rode for Ampro that day in the industry class, but I remember hearing about it. I think ML was actually riding the industry class for Phoenix that day, and yeah,
yeah, he was. Yep.
So man, glad you made a recovery. Just a few more questions before we let you go. But Cody Barnes tonight, brought to you by Guts Racing. Go ahead, Scotty. Sorry.
Cody, you mentioned at the beginning of the show that we talked about the GNCC is a little bit underappreciated, and it's for obvious reasons. It's hard to televise a 12-mile loop in the woods. It's cool now that they've gotten a lot better. They have the drones now. They do the live broadcast on Racer TV. To me, it's frustrating that because of the AMA rules that we can't put GoPros on you guys. Because like I would tune into that every week to watch you guys have GoPros on, especially when you guys are in battles. Is that something that you've ever had the idea of, that you guys as the competitors talk about, like buzz in the pits? What is your thoughts on you guys being able to wear GoPros?
Yeah, I mean, man, I remember growing up and watching, you know, Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall's helmet cam videos, you know, when Motorsport was doing their thing with Verb Off Road. And I think it's awesome. You know, there still is a couple people that's running the GoPros. You know, Caleb has wore his a couple rounds, and Ricky Russell, I think, was using his. But I think it's awesome because it shows the viewers way more of what's going on. But the thing that sucks about it is just like us as racers, we have to be mindful. Like, we go through so many different, you know, mud holes and everything that, like, you watch Caleb, he's wiping his GoPro like all the time to make sure it's clean. And like, sometimes you can't get your hand off, you know, there's so much stuff that we're hitting, the tree roots, rocks, holes, whatever it may be. But I do wish, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the chest mount. I think the helmet, you know, wearing one on the top of the helmet was better. I think it gave a better view of what was going on, kind of. And also it depends, like, I don't know how well a chest mount would work with me. You know, I'm one of the taller riders, and when I stand, my body's kind of like my upper torso is pointed down. So I feel like you guys would be looking at my bar pad more than anything.
Yeah, no one wants to see that.
Yeah, but no, I think it's an awesome thing, and I do wish there was an easier answer on how we could televise GNCC better. But it's hard. I mean, dude, some of the tracks you're in like absolute nowhere when you're biking it. Like, so to get that televised, the drone is good, but you know, once the trees get leaves on them and stuff, it's super hard to see what's going on. And I understand that gets frustrating. I think what honestly is really cool now to see, and there's a couple people doing it, is the raw highlights of the racing on YouTube. A couple channels are doing that. And I think that shows a lot better on the tracks and the battles and stuff, because those guys are, I think Racer Production is doing it on the Pipe podcast, and I think Dirt Bike Magazine might do it. And like, those guys are riding to multiple spots throughout, you know, one lap, and they get quite a bit of footage, and that's like showcasing the riding and racing way more than like what just the I think it's Between the Arrows that GNCC does, that highlights like the youth, women, and the PM race. And
cool.
I think the raw highlights are doing a good job showing some more. But I wish there was an easier answer to say like, they just need to hike out 10 miles with their camera out, out in the middle of nowhere.
Drag some cable out there. You mentioned on the Pipe podcast, those guys are great, man. Those guys are really cool and probably the biggest supporters of the off-road stuff in GNCC.
Yeah, no, I think Tyler's doing a great job. Like I said, his raw highlights, I mean, he started doing it, I think last year or the year before, and like his highlights, he has it like an hour or two, like up on YouTube an hour or two after the race is done. So it's like pretty impressive what he's doing.
That's cool. It's a grind. Did you have something else, Scotty?
Oh, no, good.
Okay, I thought you were still saying something. No. You mentioned the U.S. Sprint Enduro, which you just finished second overall in the series. Congratulations to Liam Draper on that championship. But I think you got your first career overall for U.S. Sprint in West Virginia. Is that correct? And what did that mean to you?
Yeah, yep. No, the round 6 in West Virginia, I got the overall win. It was cool. You know, this year was my first year racing the 450 of that series. And, you know, I wasn't for sure how I was going to do on it, but I've been really pleased with how I rode it. And I thought I could get away with it a little bit on the cross test, because if I made a mistake, you know, not as big of consequence. But honestly, I was more impressed and happy with how I rode it in the enduro test all year. But yeah, to get my first win and overall win was cool. You know, it showed that the hard work paid off, and then it was cool. To finally do that and check that off the box. I've had a couple of day wins, but never the full thing. So to to get the overall win was cool.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I also want to say congratulations on being named to this year's ISD World Trophy team. I think last year you were a fill-in, if I'm not mistaken. And did we finish second last year, or were we third? I know we were on the podium.
Yeah, no, we finished second as
Yep.
a team. I believe the junior world riders finished third, and then the women trophy team actually won.
Yeah, they kick butt.
Yeah, I want to say Auntie said it was the first time that every single trophy team was on the podium.
Oh, wow.
Like in 1 year. So that was really cool. But yeah, it was a last minute fill-in rider. So
no fill-in this year.
Yeah, not fill-in this year. So I have a little bit more. I think when I got the call, I had maybe a week or two to get all my stuff ready and then hop on a plane and fly out. So,
Yeah.
But we made it happen. David from Phoenix pulled a couple of strings, and he's always supported that event, which I'm really thankful for. So he made it happen.
Yeah, David Eller's a good dude, very big supporter of dirt bike racing with a Supercross team and a GNCC team, so he's cool. Two more. I have two more for you. I always like to ask the off-road guys, like, if there's a bucket list event you'd like to do, such as ISDE, which you've got to do that. You're doing that again. But is there like an Erzberg or maybe a Dakar, which is a different type of riding someday? But is there an event that you have on your list of, like, I have to do this someday?
By the way, Hunter Lawrence said he wanted to do Erzberg, and I was like,
weird.
I don't think you do, bud.
No, I don't think you do. Yeah, I asked him if he'd like to do, like, Iron Man, and he went to Erzberg. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I would like to go to Erzberg or, a hard enduro race like that. But honestly, I think one of the things that, like, right now that I look at and would be wanting to try and do would just see if I could do an outdoor national, like qualify in, like just see if I could do it. Those guys are gnarly. And, there's been a couple, I know Josh Toth has qualified for him at Southwick, and it's a little unfair.
Didn't Dante just do hang
Yeah.
time? Yeah. Okay.
Dante, he did a couple, and dude, he rips.
Yeah.
And then Mason Simmons, he's racing the works out west and stuff, and he was a GNCC racer, I think in 23,
Okay.
and maybe 22. But so like it is possible. I think it's something that could be achievable, but like those guys are gnarly. So I would like to do that at some point in my career. Just see if I could do it. I don't know if I could make it or not, but it's something that entices me, and I would like to try that before my career is done.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I would say that for me, like that's one of the things that I would really like to do and try before I'm done racing.
Okay. Scott, do you have anything else before?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so my final question really is, we talked about the not lack of respect so much, but maybe a attention that off-road gets, and obviously that means probably a lack of budget. You guys aren't making the kind of money Supercross riders are making. And I watched an interview you did with Weege and Johnny Gallagher a while back, and you talked about some guys are still having to work regular jobs and they can't train as hard because there's not the money you need necessarily to train and race full time. How do we fix that? What needs to happen to get the guys where it's not like, hey, I have to go work at McDonald's on Monday, Tuesday, so I can go race on the weekend? That's not professional level racing if you're not making the money to survive on.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard. I mean, I was racing XC3 and working a full-time job at G2 Ergonomics still when I lived in Illinois. And I mean, there's a couple XC1 guys that are working full-time jobs right now, like privateering it. I don't really know if I have the answer to it. A lot of it, I believe, comes down to like televising the event better. And like, when it comes to that, man, that's way out of my ballpark. Like, it's really easy for me to say, oh yeah, set up a bunch of cameras out in the woods. Like, you guys need to televise it better. But then like, I'm not the person to come to, like, all right, where do you want us to set up the cameras? Like, so I think, like that's the hardest part. And like snowshoe, for instance, dude, we're like, to even get to the one part of the track, it's like a 3-minute drive on the road, and you're not even to the furthest point in the woods. Like, there's no way that you could like get signal down there and everything. So it is hard. I think that's the big thing that I feel like lacks is, they do the, the live broadcast on YouTube and stuff, but it's just so hard to televise it. And, the views aren't there like what Supercross and motocross gets. And I understand it. It's hard for a sponsor to pay a ton of money into this series to get the riders more money when, they aren't seeing, only, let's say 50,000 to 100,000 people see it, where Supercross, it's, in the millions, really, hundreds of thousands to the millions. So yeah, it's hard. I wish there was more support in the industry, because like I said, it's getting to the point where it's almost, there was a time where you could privateer and, run your own program and make money. And there's very few people that can do that now. It's very hard to get the support that you once could. So I think it comes down to, just finding a way for us to be televised better and showing and broadcasting the racing better. But how to do that?
Yep. How do you do that? Yep.
Yeah, and I mean it's hard too, because like even if you have a camera every mile, like you're only going to see us for this split little straightaway in the woods.
Yeah.
And then we go behind a couple of trees and then it's done. So yeah, that's a really hard question. It's a really good question, but I don't know the answer. I almost wish that like the manufacturers, like there's a lot of people that race, and that's the hard thing, because you look at a GNCC and it's like some of the races there's 1,500 racers. I think I don't know what the biggest turnout of just bikes on Sunday has been. Usually it's Ironman, but I want to say there's over 1,000 some racers that are at that event. So I mean,
there is. Yeah, you're right.
I feel like sponsors look at that and like, all right, like that's a lot of people that are buying stuff, because there's only, I would say 30 to 40, professional racers there on Sunday for the bikes. In the PM race, like all those guys in the AM race are looking at like the pros. So I would hope that the sponsors would see that and be like, all right, like it's worth putting money in there, because 1,000 of these AM racers, those are the guys that are going to be buying our products. But
you're right. You're right.
Go
ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you go ahead. You're good.
You're right. The television or media exposure is less because of the situation. That's the answer when I ask that question of any off-road guy. They kind of all the same thing. But the turnout of the fans that are spending money, or the what's the word I'm looking for, Scotty? The people that are actually involved, the everyday guy, the weekend warriors that spend the money to buy bikes and parts and all that, is 10 times what it is at a Supercross race. That's where the real hardcore riders are, the people that love dirt bikes are. So if they put more money into the pros and the exposure that those guys get, even without TV, I feel like it's deserved. They would get it back more so than spending money at Supercross. Like Eli Tomac racing Supercross isn't bringing as much back to the OEMs and to the manufacturers as an off-road race. There's just more people at an off-road race that ride than at a Supercross race. But
yeah, I mean, how you look at it, I mean, also you guys are riding for 2 hours, or the guys in our race is 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, they're tearing up way more stuff than the local motocross
100%.
Guy that's watching Eli Tomac. So I feel like there is a lot of room for sponsors, for there to be growth with the sponsors there. And hopefully, in the coming years, the sponsors will see the value in the off-road side, because exactly what you said. I mean, dude, 1,000 some racers there on the weekend, like all those guys are buying parts, they're buying stuff. And when you walk down the line and you see, you know, whatever it may be, Stu Baylor's team, they run Yoshimura exhaust. Like, oh, well, this rider in the C class rides a Kawasaki. Like, he might go buy that, you know, and just everything, you know, Phoenix with FMF, just there's so much, and so many other sponsors, really. Like, I feel like that's kind of the side of it that gets overshadowed.
For sure. Agreed.
And I hopefully in the coming years, you know, they do see that there is value in the off-road side, and that does improve. But how to get them to see that is where, I don't have the answer for that. And I mean, if I did, I guess a lot of people probably would thank me.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
I don't know if I figured it out.
Well, hopefully with On the Pipe and our show, like we do a little bit of, we give a little bit of exposure off-road, but we're going to be pushing more that direction in the coming year. Not that we're going to move the needle a ton, but we definitely think you guys deserve it. So we'll be keeping an eye on it and promoting the series and the U.S. Sprint Enduro and all that stuff. And we really appreciate you jumping on here and giving us a chance to get to know you a little bit. I like you, man. You're a cool dude. So if I make another GNCC, I am definitely coming by Phoenix to say what's up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you guys a ton for allowing me on the show. And hopefully I showed some light on the sport. And I just appreciate you guys letting me on the show.
Yeah, well, shout out to Tim West. I think his wife is your aunt or your cousin or something. Yeah,
there's a little bit of relation there, and Tim's just a good guy that has watched me in the local area. So he's a super good dude.
Yeah, well, he messaged me and was like, "You need to get Cody on," and I'd heard your name and knew a little bit about you, and I was like, "Well, yeah, that's actually a really good idea." So shout out to Tim, and thank you for coming on, Cody. It's really been a pleasure.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. You guys have a good rest of your night and show, and thank you again.
Yeah, go win snowshoe, man, or get second.
If I win, it'll all be because of the show. I'll have to give you guys a shout out on the podium.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Do it, man. We'd love it. All right, Cody. Thanks, man.
Awesome. See you guys.
See ya.
Thanks.
Bye. That's Cody Barnes, guys. Go give him a follow on Instagram. Super nice guy. That was fun.
Very insightful. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. T-Bolt USA top 5?
Yeah,
or we want to go back to some of the opening segment stuff because I feel like there's still stuff I wanted to get to. Let's do the normal stuff.
Okay.
And then we'll see if there's
all right.
We'll see if you're ready to be done. I know you hate doing this stuff.
Yeah, no, I just hate. I just never show up.
But I did eat a little.
You got a little pizza. Yeah, we got pizza today, which is funny because I took a late lunch thinking that we weren't going to do pizza today, and then you got pizza. I didn't. So for those listening, ML and Vital have been nice enough over probably the last year to get us pizzas on Wednesday nights. Well, once they decided to let me go, I just decided I wasn't going to ask them to do that. I wasn't going to get pizza anymore. I wasn't going to turn in on the expense reports. I just thought it felt weird. Yeah. But I went ahead and bought the pizza myself this week, so you're welcome. Thank you. Mainly because TJ wasn't here, and I just they have to rub it in his face. Yeah, I was just like, whatever, TJ, fine, way to go. T-Bolt USA. If you are a pit bike enthusiast and love shredding around on a CRF 110, KLX 110, or whatever you have, you need TBoltUSA.com. Bookmark. You know what? I feel like I do that because of Kiefer. Do you listen to Kiefer's podcast? One of his reads was .com. Yeah. I think I'm Kiefer. I think low-key wants to be like a strip club announcer. Well, you know he's done that, right? Like, Has he really? Not for real, but he's done it on Pulp. Where that's where he's Mercedes on the side stage. Yep. Maserati. Yeah. He's definitely got T-Bolt USA is a pit bike supply site that has everything you need for your pit bike. You can find handlebar kits featuring BBR and Pro Taper bars, D&M shocks, and even full bikes from YCF, Pitster Pro, and Piranha. T-Bolt USA has it all. They even have stuff for the Chinese bikes that are so difficult to find, and you'll find pit bikes, engine, and parts at TBoltUSA.com. Probably should stop doing that too. Yeah, probably. All right, I'll try to cut that out. That'll probably be easier to cut out than saying like. Yeah. This week's T-Bolt USA top 5, as we mentioned earlier with Hunter, is like coolest moments. I can't believe this is happening kind of thing. Next week, we're going to do another Steve Hall suggestion. You mean the week after that? What's that? Yeah, the next show, sorry. Which is going to be movie animals non-animated. Okay? So like he mentioned Lassie or Flipper, or I don't even know what he did. See, I really, I like that one.
Do you?
And y'all clown me for it, but it's okay.
I mean, I think I'm not a big animal guy.
Yeah, you're just a hater, dude.
Yeah, man.
That's why you get bummed out and you get all in your head all weekend at Loretta's. Loretta qualifiers.
There was a big freaking...
No, just because you're negative.
Coolest moments
is
this week's. And some of mine, a lot of them are going to be thankfully or because of the job I've had for the last 3 years. A lot of my moments. But do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go ahead.
All right. I got to go to Italy for the Gas intro.
Yeah, that was cool.
Although I got hurt right away, but it was still a very cool trip.
So going to an Italian hospital is one of your
well, I mean, just being in Italy, I was like, how am I here right now?
Yeah.
That's cool. I mentioned this one with Cody, racing the quad with Bradshaw RV and Johnny Gallagher. There's actually a couple. I've told that story on here. If you're a new listener, maybe you didn't hear it. And also when I went to the Yamaha off-road intro a couple years ago at Randy Hawkins' place, I got to go on a ride with RV and Bradshaw and like pass RV going down a hill. And those kind of experiences are all lumped into that, right? Can't believe. Met my man crush, Dax Shepard, last year or 2 years ago at Los Angeles Coliseum.
Yeah.
So that was one. I got to hang out with the guys from Skid Row in the green room.
Yeah.
That was somewhat because of this show and a connection I made. A few years back, because of my buddy Monty, who plays guitar for Madonna and Ministry, I got to meet Madonna, and I also got to hang out in the green room with the guys from Anthrax.
Oh, that's cool.
So I talked Star Wars with Charlie Benante, the drummer of Anthrax, a massive Star Wars fan, and I talked about Stephen King with Scott Ian, which if you guys don't know who Scott Ian is, he's kind of an iconic guitar player, bald head, pointy long goatee.
Yeah.
That's Scott Ian. He's a massive Stephen King fan. So I'm just sitting in the green room talking about Stephen King and Star Wars.
Badass.
Those are kind of all my. I don't even know how many that
Music
is.
and Moto, shocker.
All because of Moto. There's probably a lot of other ones.
Yeah.
But those were the ones that jumped out off the page right away. So those are mine.
Yeah,
MotoXpod show at gmail.com. If you'd like to tell us yours, we'd love to be able to read those. What you got, Scotty?
Well, a couple of mine are because of the opportunities I've gotten from this show. One was getting to ride Lakewood. It's the only time I've ever rode a national caliber track.
Yeah. It's a good one.
So that was, I know that a lot of people get to ride a bunch of different tracks. I never really have. I've never really rode. I mean, my scope of riding is very small, the places that I've gone. So that was a really cool experience. Also getting to be in the press box and go behind the scenes at like Supercrosses and stuff and like go into the trucks and go with you. Like that was, I mean,
I should have used that as one, honestly, but I've been doing it so long.
You've done it so long that it's like normalized to you. But for me, I've only done it a couple of times. Like that's, I can't believe like I'm actually like hopping the fence at Honda HRC, you know, like that was cool. Another one was seeing, getting my ticket upgraded at Guns N' Roses and going down to the first level and just being
you
like,
ever told me that.
Yeah, I've told you I've gone to Guns N' Roses.
Yes, but not this part of the story.
Yeah. We were like, we were like, I have to go. Well, first of all, my buddy called me like a year before that and said that Guns N' Roses was getting back together, and I told him that whatever you're smoking, you probably should stop because like that's never going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
And
was this when the original band got back together,
yeah,
or the Axl's version?
No, this was the original.
Okay,
this was like the fifth stop on the Not in This Lifetime tour.
Yeah. So all the original members minus Izzy, right?
I think Izzy was still there.
Okay.
He was the bass player, right?
No, that's Duff.
No, okay, no, Duff was there.
Izzy's the rhythm guitar player.
Maybe Izzy wasn't there.
I don't think Izzy.
Yeah.
I think he might have done a couple weird shows here and there, but I don't think.
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
So I was like, all right, we have to go because I told them we weren't going to go. I told them that if they did happen, I would buy him a ticket, and it happened. So I bought him a ticket, and I bought like nosebleed tickets because it was kind of expensive.
Yeah, they were.
And so then we got upgraded down to the first level. We went from like
how does that happen?
Dude, we were walking to our seats and this lady called herself the Ticket Fairy. She worked for AT&T Stadium, and I guess like they had some areas down below that weren't filled out. And she was like, "Do you want to upgrade your tickets to my buddy?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't know, man. I don't. He's got the tickets. You ask him." And then so I'm coming into it like, I'm getting scammed.
Yeah,
thing.
sure.
And she was like, "Do you want to upgrade your tickets?" I'm like, "Well, how much?" And she was like, "Oh, no, for free." And I'm like, looked at him. I'm like, You weren't sure about this? Like, well, I was like, "Where's the seats at?" And she pointed on the first level. I'm like, dude, that's I couldn't even say let's go before like, So like,
that's awesome.
So that was cool. Another one was when I was like 12 or 13. I accidentally got myself stuck into caught myself caught in a rock slide.
Oh wow,
That was like pretty crazy, cool experience.
it was cool. It was like
I mean, it was terrifying,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
I it was cool after I lived through it.
all right.
Yeah, like we were
Okay.
on the side of the mountain in Utah, and there was like a little trail going up it, and there was like a rock sluice that like it's where all the rocks fall
Okay.
over periods of time.
All right.
And so I just thought, I was like, oh, look at this. I was like 12. I was like, look at this cool thing that I can slide down. And so then I start sliding down it. And then like I hear like some shuffling, and I think it sounds like somebody's walking on the trail. So I look back up to see like who's coming. And then I just see like this boulder, like this big, like just bounce down. And I'm
Holy
like,
crap.
oh, wow, that was wild. And then like I hear that same noise, but like times like 100. And then like next thing I know, there's just boulders just falling down this hill that I probably shouldn't have been on.
Clearly.
And like it was bouncing. One bounced over my head, one landed on my foot. Like yeah, it was crazy. And then like I'm sliding down, and my mom hears like she's like, you know, we were on a trail area. She was down by like this waterfall thing, and she's like, she's like, where's Scott? Where's my son? And then like she comes around the corner, and she's like. She like looks at me and sees that I'm okay, and she's like, "Did you see that rock slide?" And I was like, "See it? I was in it." Like, what do you mean see it? So like that was that one was one, and
That's crazy. Yeah.
I think is that 5 or that might be just 4.
I feel like that was only 4.
I think that's let me see. That's all I
If that's
thought
all you
about.
got, it's fine.
I thought I had another
I
one.
can't
but-
believe I'm here. I got a girlfriend.
Yeah, that's probably a good
joking,
one.
I'm joking.
Yeah, finally got that one checked off.
You mentioned something a second ago. Oh, like I was gonna say, it's still all kind of the same thing, but like the fact that
I remember my last
Go
one. I was at the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas.
Okay.
And there's like it's a really fancy, nice resort. And there was a casino there, and I was at this craps table, I think. And like I looked over, and it was like a couple of weeks after Kevin Durant had signed with Oklahoma City Thunder, and he was playing at the craps table across the street. And so I was like, oh wow, like that's really cool. Like that's a very famous person just right there. Like I know that's not. I've been around other famous people and stuff, but that was, I don't know, that was a cool one.
Yeah, that's cool. I wouldn't know him if I saw him.
Yeah, he's
but
like one of the greatest.
I know the name. Yeah.
He's like one of the elite basketball players.
I mean, like I get that though. That's still pretty damn cool. I was gonna say like also like hit me that guys like Damon Bradshaw, these legends, McGrath are I would consider Bradshaw a friend. I wouldn't say McGrath is a friend, but he's definitely
cool.
an acquaintance that knows who I am. Those things
That's
are all
cool.
also pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
So, and then even just like when you sit back and go, like we have listeners like on our YouTube right now that really support and follow, a diehard listeners of the show. And I appreciate those people so much. And it's just cool that from what this show was when it started to what it's become, it's really awesome, and it means a lot. And going back to me thanking the people that have reached out, just the kind words and all that it's really, really cool. I can't believe that we have that kind of support. You know, like I hate using the word fans, but people that appreciate what we do.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
It means a lot. So that I can't believe we're here. All right, let's do Barnett clutches. Pick one. Barnett Dirt Digger clutch kits have 75 years of experience behind every kit. Engineered for maximum performance, Dirt Digger clutch kits feature friction materials formulated exclusively for Barnett. Get yours at barnettclutches.com and get 10% off with code VITALMX, all caps. You picked this one. The next show where I have one set up.
Okay.
But we'll say it doesn't. We don't have to tell it. But yours was favorite ice cream. You said it could be flavor, style, just whatever, right? Whatever.
Yeah, like if you had to pick an ice
your
cream,
favorite ice cream,
like what your go-to, like
for
what is
me.
Okay.
That's very difficult because I think of like anybody that listens to the show knows like I love steak. That's probably my favorite food.
Yeah.
But my favorite treat is ice cream if it's a particular kind of ice cream.
All right,
I don't like crappy ice cream.
try to do like your top like.
I can
are we
do
talking
like 3 or
milkshakes?
4.
Are we talking milkshakes? We talking
So
like banana splits?
Bluebell Happy Tracks is probably my favorite flavor. That would be if I just had to have one forever.
You would just pick that one.
That one, and that's one that they haven't had in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, what's all in that one?
It's basically like a vanilla ice cream with chocolate fudge, like a hard chocolate fudge swirled in, and peanut butter kisses.
Oh wow, that does sound
It's
good.
amazing.
You could get you could
not Tom. What's it? The Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah.
Has one that's similar but not as good, and I forget what it's called.
You could do a Sunday at Dairy Queen where you could get the Reese's cups.
Sure.
With the cone dip on top like that. I mean, that's
It'd be similar.
It's similar.
I don't like Dairy Queen or McDonald's like soft serve ice cream as much though as like the Bluebell
homemade vanilla,
the Bluebell formula is like perfect. Yes, you can get it close in other versions, but that's my number one. I really like the Snickers ice cream bars.
Oh yeah.
I was actually one of the guys that at Lance Ford's a friend of mine, and he helped me out a lot this weekend. Me and Michael Gage kind of hung out at his trailer a lot, and his wife brought out some Snickers ice cream in the tub. Not near as good as the bars. So the bars is probably my number two.
Okay.
And even, this is going to contradict what I just said a minute ago, but McDonald's soft serve ice cream with their hard chocolate covering is almost perfect. For that.
When they had their machine running.
Exactly. So here's a story. I don't think Amber and I were together very long. This might have even been when I got hurt. And we were coming back from maybe when I came back with a puncture. No, I don't remember when it was. Doesn't matter. We stopped. She was driving because I was hurt. We stopped in Canton to get one.
At Dairy Palace?
Nope, at McDonald's to get one of these.
Okay.
And their ice cream machine was broken. And I was like, I want one so bad. So then I was like, we're going to find one. We stopped in Lindale. Ice cream machine was stopped, broken.
It's a conspiracy, man.
We exited and came to Gladewater. Ice cream machine was broken. She's like, if we have to drive to Shreveport, we're getting one of these. And I think White Oak had it, which was crazy. And that was the last time I ever had one, which was probably 10 years ago. Because they never worked. They never have it ever since. But Amber drove me all over trying to get one of these things. And the Dairy Queen one's pretty good, but the chocolate to me was better on McDonald's. What do you call that? Like the one that turns hard.
We call it cone dip.
Okay, same thing. The McDonald's one. Those are my three. I'll finish with that, but
cone coating.
I don't dig like a cheap ice cream anymore. When I was a kid, I loved the big whatever.
Like the big giant tub.
Yeah, I'll just eat that shit.
Or just like the cheap ice cream sandwiches.
No, I never liked sandwiches very much.
Oh, really?
I don't like the sandwich part.
Yeah.
I'll go to like what's the?
So which one are you going to pick?
Oh, the Bluebell one's for sure my number one.
Okay.
But I took Marley, my stepdaughter, to Minchie's. I always have to think about it because I used to joke and call it Mincy's. But anyway, Minchie's frozen yogurt. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the Bluebell Happy Tracks is my number one above all else. Your turn.
I
took too
I really like the giant cookie sandwiches. Like it's like the Nestle cookie with the ice cream sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are good.
Okay. Dude, let's get one.
Yeah, right. But I think like my ultimate go-to though is, I mean, pretty much anything with peanut butter or Reese's cups in it.
Yeah.
Like Brahms peanut butter cup ice cream, like especially in a cone, or you can get in a cone or a milkshake or whatever. That's probably my number one. But I do like shakes, like strawberry milkshakes, regular vanilla milkshakes, especially with like a burger. Like a burger and a milkshake and fries, like
a good shake.
Yeah, but I think
hard to beat.
I think if I had to choose one, it's probably going to be pretty much anything with Reese's and ice cream. I'm good.
I also like Klondike bars. I just thought about that.
Klondike bars are
really
good.
But what hit me a minute ago when you were talking for some reason was Baskin Robbins chocolate. As a little kid, I loved Baskin Robbins. My little buddy.
So you go to a place that has 31 flavors and you get chocolate?
You know I'm plain and dry on burgers, and I'm pretty boring on ice cream, like vanilla chocolate or mint chocolate chip. Those are kind of my things. But the chocolate as my buddy, when we were little kids, called it Batman and Robbins, Baskin Robbins.
Yeah, Batman and Robbins.
Was that chocolate it still has the same flavor it did when I was a little kid, and there's some nostalgia there, so that's pretty damn good too.
I don't ever really get it, but I remember like nostalgia wise, I mean, if you think of like always going to my grandma's house, she always had mint chocolate chip, and like it's not my favorite, but like nostalgia wise, like it was
mint
good.
Chocolate chip.
Yeah,
See,
like mint chocolate chip.
Yeah,
it's got its place.
I like to mix my mint chocolate chip with chocolate.
Oh, there you go.
That's the way I like mint chocolate chip the best. That's I always joke, the only thing green that I'll eat is mint chocolate chip ice cream.
What about pistachio ice cream?
No, I've never tried it, but it just sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
Sounds disgusting. Like mocha almond fudge. Never had that. Don't know what it is. Sounds disgusting. I won't eat it.
Yeah.
The
You
word-
don't drink coffee though,
No.
really?
Is that what, I guess that's what mocha is.
Mocha
yeah.
is,
For some
yeah.
reason, I never put that together until right now. My mom used to
I mean,
eat
mocha is chocolate, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But it's like a
very, very common
coffee-ish,
in coffee.
Like my mom always ate mocha almond fudge, as I recall, and I was like, whatever that word is, it grosses me out.
yeah.
Kind of like a quiche. That word grosses me out.
Oh, quiches are good.
Probably is. Sounds gross.
It's just like spinach and egg and cheese, like a
I
little
don't like
tart.
spinach, but I guess I might like.
Dude, you are like a freaking 12-year-old.
I am.
It's
What-
crazy.
I got a burger the other day at the track. They have all these amazing burgers, and it's like everybody's like, "That's like the best burger ever." And I was like, "Can I get one with bacon and cheese?" And she's like, "That's it." I was like, "Yeah, don't ruin the taste of my meat, bro.
No, they made it better. They enhanced
Can't
it.
make meat better."
Dude, what was some of their burgers? Like they had like eggs
Dude,
and
they
like,
were just different vegetables and seasonings. They probably had one thing, but they were all. It was called Burgertology or something like that.
Oh,
they were
that
all like
sounds
it was
good.
like the Led Zeppelin burger, the Pantera
Oh.
burger, the Aerosmith burger. It was all
I'm gonna
rock.
have to- I'm gonna
yeah,
have
it's
to
cool.
look this
I think it was
place
called Burgertology.
and it was at the track.
It was at I guess they go to Freestone a lot, and they were at Underground. I think that's what it was called, something along those lines. Yeah, but I just got bacon and cheese and barbecue sauce. That's what I asked for. It was good. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to run through my notes real quick because I feel like there was something else I wanted. So fantasy recap we did. Oh, that one. Okay, so
Burgerology.
two. Did you find it?
Yeah, out of Waco.
Probably.
I mean, if it's at Freestone, that
Yeah,
makes
probably.
sense. All right. Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm
Well,
looking.
I'm going to ask you a question, but just hang
yeah,
tight,
the-
guys. Well, there might be
the
a moment
Ozzy,
of
the Pearl
silence.
Jam, the Leonard Skinner,
There you go.
Blink-182. Oh my God, I have to go try this place.
Just because of the names.
Well, yeah, it's cool. But like
Yeah.
that sounds amazing. Like
Right.
a patty with egg with
What's
gouda
the
cheese.
website so people can look it up if they want?
Burgertology.com.
There you go. Yeah, at least get
Look for the one out of Waco and go to the website.
Yeah, if you're in the area,
The
Waco.
Johnny Cash sounds good. Mac and cheese, pulled pork, and mango habanero.
Oh damn,
And you just said I just want bacon and cheese. You suck, bro.
barbecue sauce.
Barbecue. You go, okay, all right.
So
all
I
right.
said the bacon, egg, cheese, barbecue sauce.
kinda disappointed
Nothing else.
that-
And I got no barbecue sauce and pickles. I was like, yeah, you screwed up, bro.
I'm a little disappointed that Led Zeppelin's kind of just a basic burger.
Is it?
It's just double meat, cheese, lettuce,
Have you watched
tomato,
the
onions,
documentary,
pickles.
the Becoming Zeppelin on Netflix?
No.
It's good.
What?
Yeah, Becoming Zeppelin. It's,
Oh, I'm gonna go home
yeah,
and
it's
probably
really
start
good.
that right.
It's really good.
I
There's
didn't know
audio.
that was out.
There's audio from John Bonham, and then the Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, and John Paul Jones are all in it. And there's all this old footage, and some of the
Oh,
footage they
wow.
haven't seen since it happened. So you kind of get to see their reaction.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Oh my God, I'm gonna go check it out.
Okay. 2 more topics, then we'll do the FXR picks and we'll be out. Aaron Plessinger. We talked about this on the post-race show. You said you listened to it, but this is in my opinion, the best AP we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we still maybe consider him second tier. I say he's officially a first tier rider. It's time to give him a 2-year contract. He is no longer the second guy to Chase Sexton or the second guy to whoever. He is good enough to be first tier. Yes, he doesn't have an overall win outdoors yet, but he is good enough to be there.
He's not going to get paid
consistently.
as much as like Chase or Tomac or Jet.
Okay, but he's got to be a step up of what he's been.
I think
No more
so.
1-year deals.
Like I think for the longest time that like he was kind of in like that Mookie Barsha Anderson category, and I think he has kind of
Surpassed that.
Surpassed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
he's
you
like
agree.
a 1B, like a
Sure, I'll give you that.
rather than
He's
like
every bit of Hunter Lawrence.
Yeah,
I mean,
isn't he beating Hunter in points right now? Like he
let
would
me tell you.
probably
I'll tell you
have
right
to
here. I
be.
got it right here. Let me flip this over. I believe he is. Yes. So we got Jetson first, Hunter's fourth, AP's third. Yep.
Yeah. So
by 4 points.
He's one of
3 points.
He's one of very few people that has passed Jet Lawrence. Like,
Yep.
I mean, that's
No
yeah.
more. Listen, Ian Harrison.
I just
no more 1-year deals for AP.
do you need to see because AP has kind of been known for having like kind of hot flashes throughout his season. Like obviously Supercross this year started off pretty bad, and then he got really good towards the end of it. Last year Supercross started off really good and then didn't end well, and then outdoors was had his ups and downs. Like do you need to see him continue this, like run the pace of Eli and Jet and Hunter for the rest of the year to fully establish that?
I think
Or
so, but you have to take.
Do you think he will? Like, I mean,
yes.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think he's there now. I don't think this is like, oh, I'm just having a couple good motos. He's there now. Plus his personality and the fan response, which is very important in this industry, in the sport. he has earned more than a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Stop taking the 1-year deals, AP. I mean, I know like maybe there's not spots everywhere else right now, but he deserves more than what he's getting.
I think that he'll stay at KTM for a while. I think it's a good fit for him.
I do too. My other topic, I had a couple more, but this one I want to hit you up with. Hymas last weekend at Thunder Valley went 1-1, Deegan 2-2. Deegs comes back, goes 1-1. Do you think Deegan was mad? Like his ride at High Point, because I'm pissed and I'm going to show everybody? Or do you feel, this is what I feel, is that he was a little under the weather at Thunder Valley, wasn't his best self?
I think I'm going to play the part of a little bit of both.
Okay.
Like, JT did a good job on the broadcast. He brought up several times that Hayden Deegan's vibe, and it was apparent on the podium as well. Like, his vibe on the whole time was very serious, very business. Like, I don't think he took very well to the 2-2s last week. Maybe it was sickness induced. Altitude's a heck of a thing out there. The bike didn't, do him any favors in the first moto.
Yeah, sure.
I think he probably would have still got the overall if he hadn't have fallen in the second moto. I think that I'm not going to say that he was like pissed off, but I think he was like JT kept alluding to. He was very, very strictly business. Like, let's come in.
Would that be because he's mad that he got beat though?
I think it's just more of just like, no, I'm not. I guess you can call it mad.
Maybe mad's not the right word.
But I think he's
this
just
isn't
like,
gonna happen again,
yeah,
kind of thing.
no, like I'm not losing to you guys this year.
Yeah.
Like, it's just serious. Like, I'm just like, I'm gonna, yeah.
Okay.
We were taking, we were winning. It was coming naturally. I didn't win. Like, it's on. Like, you guys are going down now.
Right,
Like,
right.
and it's not necessarily a mad thing. It's just I'm not letting that happen again.
All right, MotoXpodShow@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts on these topics. We're going to finish up with the FXR picks for Southwick, because I think as of right now, I'm going to say we're not doing a show next week. Maybe something happens and we decide to throw something together, but I'd say more than likely no show next week. So
We haven't done a break in months. So,
but if I'm being honest, I feel a little bit bad because we're kind of coming to the end with Vital, and we do have obligations to our advertisers, but we're going to keep those things
maybe
going.
they should have thought about that.
I think we'll stop. FXR is designed by racers for racers with industry-leading fit, finish, and performance. Progression is the name of the game with every new piece created. At FXR, we push our brand to the next level to provide you with the best product possible. Used by, I just blanked. Complete Malcolm Stewart, Muckoff FXR Club MX Yamaha, Mike Brown, Brock Tickle, Chris Kiefer, Benny Bloss, and many more. FXR has core moto routes, so visit fxrracing.com. Go to your local dealership to see the complete 25 line. I had FXR on all 3 days of riding this weekend at Underground. FXR picks for Southwick. I've been sticking with Jet every week, Eli every week. I'm flipping back, man. Jet wins Southwick, Eli second, AP third. What do you got, Scotty?
Come on, Tomac.
Okay, ET?
Yeah, I'm going to keep picking him until he does it.
I said I was too, and then I didn't.
ET, Jet, Hunter.
I struggle between Hunter and AP.
I think Hunter's good at Southwick.
I think AP is too, but
Is he?
I don't know, man. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know.
Yeah,
shit.
we
I don't know anything.
We talk about all this stuff, and we're in this like we
I don't know anything, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know, man.
I want to thank Hunter Lawrence and Cody Barnes for coming on the show. And I want to thank Race Tech and Yamaha Motor USA for being the presenting sponsors. I also want to thank X Brand, Evans Coolant, Guts Racing, T-Bolt USA, Barnett Clutches, ETS Racing Fuels, FXR, and ProX, all for taking care of the show, supporting the show, keeping it going. I want to thank our listeners, our viewers on YouTube, posts, archives, all that stuff. It means the world to us. We will be back probably in 2 weeks for the next show. After, man, what is after Southwick? Why am I blanking?
Redbud?
Is Redbud next? Redbud's 4th of July weekend.
Sounds about
Yeah,
right.
I think you're right. I'll be at Redbud. So, yeah, I'm planning on going to Redbud.
Oh, nice.
So, anyway, thanks to everybody. We'll be back in a couple weeks. We love you guys.
Yeah, later, guys.